Can you come up, Alan? I'm gonna take a second with Alan here, and we got a little thing we want to do for a special person.
Joe, you want to do it? I want to read a little statement here. This past weekend, we lost a very special lifelong resident and a dear friend. Janet Davis passed away 8 o'clock Saturday morning. Janet's loss is deeply felt by so many, and she will be greatly missed. How fortunate the Montverde community was to have such a kind and truly loving friend. She will be gone, but she will not be missed. All you will have to do is go to the library, and you'll see Janet there, Janet there, Janet there. Janet was a fantastic photographer of wildlife. She brought that to our community and shared it with all of us. So Joe has asked me to do the prayer invocation this afternoon, this evening. So if you'll join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for our opportunity. Thank you for a community that we have and the leadership that leads us. And you have told us in your word that you put people in power and you take them out. We want to remember Dan and Eric, husband, son. This loss to the community is felt by many. Those who know Janet, it was an honor and a privilege, and you felt welcomed every time you saw her. We will miss her smile. We'll miss her enthusiasm. We'll miss her homemade strawberry jams and pineapple strawberry combinations. She loved this community. She respected the community and what it stood for. She and Dan chose to live here and raise a family. And if you knew her, Father, right now we know that she's in your care. There's no more pain. There's no more sorrow. There's no more suffering. Her body is healed. She's free of all the pain that this world brought upon her. She fought the good fight, and now she is in your care. We commit these things to remember Dan and Eric in these times of mourning. There's a time to mourn. This is a time to mourn. We want to lift them up for their loss, and we thank you that you're a loving God and you care for us. In thy name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. By the way, Janet went to grade 1 through 4 in that building. That was the school. That's pretty cool. All right, if you roll call, please. Oh, and by the way, we got all new mics.
Councilmember Rubio.
Present.
Councilmember Roberts.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Womack is absent. Mayor Winecoop.
Here. Alrighty. Let's move on. Our first topic. Well, let me say that on our citizens and questions and comments, the only we're just introducing this. We're going to be moving some stuff around on it. Right tonight, we're just going to go by the 5-minute rule. So everybody gets 5 minutes. It gets up. Everything else we're still working out on that sheet. But okay, let's go to the first thing is town manager and talk about the grant reimbursements.
Sorry, manager. Mayor, we have administrative matters and presentations.
Oh, I'm sorry.
St.
Yeah.
John's and Turnpike.
Yep. I go right past them all the time. So let's go ahead and talk about the St. John River Water Management District.
Sure. I'll need to read that. This is a part of our water conservation that we're required to do under our CUP education process or purposes.
2026 proclamation, whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida water management districts and the town of Montverde are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas town of Montverde and state of Florida have designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the town of Montverde has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community. And whereas outdoor irrigation comprises a large portion of water usage in the town of Montverde, the town of Montverde will encourage citizens and businesses to focus on improving outdoor irrigation efficiency. Now therefore be it resolved that by the virtue of the authority vested in the mayor, Joe Winecoop, does hereby proclaim the month of April as Water Conservation Month. The town of Montverde, Florida calls upon all residences and businesses to help protect our precious water resources by practicing water-saving measures and increasing awareness of the importance of conservation. In recognition of the 28th year of Water Conservation Month, this year's focus will be on ensuring that outdoor irrigation systems operate efficiently by using properly functioning rain shutoff devices. By making sure these devices are installed, connected, and working as intended, our community can prevent unnecessary watering, reduce waste, and make better use of the rainfall we receive.
Alrighty. That's about it on that. You ready for the Turnpike?
Yes, can we just have a 1 minute pause? It looks like we're having a problem with the link for people to get online. So we're trying to resolve that real quick. There's a problem with the link for people to get online. Give us
Oh, okay.
a second to check on that.
Oh, for the Turnpike, that's PowerPoint?
No, just for people that want to watch online.
Oh, okay.
The link's not connecting, but it may take a little time to see if they can even get that resolved, but I'll go ahead and go on to the Turnpike. So council, this is kind of wanted to report back to you. We've had some residents from Willow Ridge who commented about in the past meetings about noise and the traffic there along the Turnpike and what it's doing kind of to the new Willow Ridge neighborhood. Mayor Joe went to, I'll let him speak here in a second, but he went to several meetings. Whoa, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Here we go. Mayor Joe went to several meetings and met with the HOA over there, and subsequently myself, with the help of Commissioner Parks and Mayor, met with both the Turnpike Authority, FDOT, a representative from Willow Ridge, and the architects to kind of follow up, and they involved us in the complete process of putting the landscape plan together, not only in front of Willow Ridge, but basically along that whole section of the Turnpike, because we want to make sure that when you're coming in the area of Lake County, it represents Lake County and also Southwest Lake County, and specifically toward Montverde. So I'm just going to, there's only about 5 slides here. I just wanted to go through that, and the mayor will probably have a couple comments. So we sat down with the Willow Ridge representatives. They kind of showed us their plan there along the Turnpike and their schedule. I'll just kind of go through these. Everybody knows where the new Turnpike section is. They went through and did a complete site analysis, soil samples, concept development. Then they brought plans to us at the very beginning, got our input before they even started plans, and then came with us with the 90% submittal, which is what you're taking a look at here, and the stakeholder review. You can kind of see where we're at in the process on that. They're actually getting ready to bid these plans here fairly quickly, and the goal is to have the complete project done by 3rd quarter of 2027 through there. This is the different plant palettes they chose, everything from pines to magnolias and different crepe myrtles. They wanted not only Florida-friendly landscapes, but landscape plants that are common around to this area for Lake County. They created a 3D rendering, so what you see, this is the section that's going to go in front of Lake Apopka. And obviously, they weren't able to do a sound wall there, so in lieu, they're doing multiple layers of trees and plantings to act as a buffer for the sound through there. And what you're kind of seeing is what everything, I think it was 5 years out, is kind of what they see where the growth at. So this is kind of the view of Lake Apopka Sound as you go along the Turnpike. This is the area in front of Verde Park. You can see a multi-layer with the taller trees in the back, budding the neighborhoods and working your way down to different landscapes in the area. And this is the section in front of Willow Ridge. So nice and heavy, blocks it, good trees that are low water tolerant. They will be watering and they get established for the first 5 years. And just kind of shows you the height of the trees versus the subdivision. That's probably the highest point of the road, I believe, is what they're showing that as versus what the neighborhood is. then just another picture. This is what it'll look like from inside the development area on Willow Ridge. So I would say I'll give kudos to the Turnpike Authority. They were very receptive. They listened to everything we had to say. They listened to the representative from Willow Ridge from the neighborhood, which was Jerry, who came in and did that. In addition, they also got some public comments back from other areas. They really would like the interchange better enhanced, and so they didn't have plans to do this much of enhancement, but they're going to go through the whole entire interchange and enhance it to make it shine what our area should look like in Southlake County. And this is just kind of hard to see on there, but it just kind of shows the buffers of the overlays of the area. So I just want to thank the mayor, Joe Weinkoop. I know he went to multiple meetings and spent several hours there, and even walked in the neighborhood with them, and kind of talked about that. Commissioner Parks reached out, and thank you for doing that, reaching out to FDOT and to the Turnpike Authority and kind of getting this all established. And then Jerry from Willow Ridge, I appreciate all the work he did and time he put in to attend the meetings on that. So that I think that should appease as much as we can the noise issue was there and the site visibility issues out there.
Yeah, I want to add, they put wells in that they water those for 2 straight years until the rain can take care of them. And the vendor that puts them in is responsible for 2 years worth of growth. So they should be on their way pretty good. They're coming in at like 5 to 7 foot to 8 foot, and that's what they plant. And they have to live 2 years, and that's the vendor's contract. And I know Paul said thank you to Sean, but Sean was able to get the Turnpike Authority to give us some attention, and that was huge. All righty. Okay, we got done with that. Move on to number 3. Go ahead with the grant reimbursement track.
Oops, sorry, Mayor. Do you want to do the public comment section? The public comment section?
With the public comment, we're only going to be enforcing the 5-minute rule right now.
Correct. Yeah.
That's it.
Is that next what you want to do? Okay. I think you just jumped ahead on the agenda.
I'm sorry?
You just jumped ahead on the agenda, so we're on the public comment section.
I'm not following you.
You were saying that you jumped to number 3. We still have to do public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to do that?
Of course.
Okay. If you got something you'd like to talk to the council about that's not on the agenda, come on up. One at a time. Oh.
Hi, my name's Neil Frazier. I rest my head at 166 437th Street. I'm representing my sister, Nancy Shrewsbury. She is the owner of the property. I am coming here next week, and I'm going to get this girl, or next month, to tell you that about my appeal that I have with the court for the civil asset forfeiture
Neil, there's paper on the floor.
that you guys are going to do. So here's what I'm going to do. When I come back on, do I have to turn it on? It's on. I'm not talking to it. There we are, man. It's not sensitive enough. When I come back next week, I got here an appeal that I filed in the Lake County Court. I don't know what happened to this appeal. I don't know who the attorney was assigned to, but anybody who gets in a court case, you get a bunch of stuff back. I haven't got anything on this, but I'm going to give this to Carolyn. Ask her for a copy of it. It'll help you out next week. Another thing, I got a letter. In preparing for this, I found a letter in my mom's stuff about notice of confirmed galvanized service line. I have some questions with this. How many of these letters were sent out?
I don't remember offhand, probably 30 of them or so, I'm guessing.
Just 30?
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot.
How much is a permit?
For what?
I don't know. It says you got to get a permit.
I'm not even sure what letter you're talking about, Mr. Frazier, so you'll have to show it to me. Yeah, so this was a requirement under the state of Florida that we identified all the galvanized lines. At this point, they changed their guidance. There's nothing anybody needs to do with a galvanized line at this point.
Okay, so, well, just so you know, when I found this, here's what I read. The town of Montverde's lead pipe contaminated your service line. Come buy a permit from us, okay? So I guess, I don't know. I don't see how. My brother-in-law is an engineer. He said if that pipe is buffered by your meter, how can it get contaminated?
So any meters, there was, I think, 1 meter in town that was identified with lead, which the town has replaced. The homeowner was responsible if there's lead from the meter to the house, even for galvanized at the time the initial guidance came out. The guidance changed and nothing further needs to be done with galvanized pipe. When the council originally was looking at replacing them, they authorized that the town would actually reimburse the homeowners for replacement of the galvanized if they want to do that and waive any permit fees. We still have to legally get a permit under Florida Building Code, but at the time the council was going to waive that, but we never got to that because the DEP changed the guidance on galvanized line replacement unless it's known lead.
Okay, my last thing is, on your town newsletter that comes out, I think I'm gonna suggest that you add a citizens report section to the town's newsletter. If the town is gonna use this space to vilify a private citizen, then criticizing, then the citizenry is due equal time on this venue, okay? If the topic is that important, all right, people will come to you and ask. And you can have them fill out a public records request, and you can charge them money like you do me every time I ask a question for this town. So that's just my suggestion for that. If you're going to vilify a private citizen on that venue, you need to give us a chance to put it back. So thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name's Pamela. Good evening. My name's Pamela Tarver, and I have a very serious concern, and this in reference to a project at my house, which is an auxiliary dwelling unit. I am concerned about the processes that are in place or not in place for residents. I've been a resident here for 25 plus years. We followed every guideline, every process, every procedure that was presented before us, but now each time, a second time, we're having to pay the penalty or coming out of our pockets for something that the town did in error. The process was done in error. So I'm concerned. I sent a letter to each one of the councilmen and just never got a response from anyone in reference to my concern about the sloping of my ADU. Number one concern, as a resident, I would have expected a response. Something that said, I hear you, let me get back with you, or something. None of that happened. I sent it to the elected officials and to our staff. I got some comments back from our permitting person that said that our town manager is going to talk with the engineer or something, but nothing from the councilman, and that's unacceptable. Number two, there is nowhere on the website where I am even given an email for councilman. I had to call around to find email addresses. If you are our elected officials and you want to hear from us, give us a way to contact you. That's not there. My letter, I'm still asking for a response to that letter, and I'm just really concerned about no response. I'm also concerned about our town planning committee that came to my property, left us thinking that we were okay with everything, and we got our final inspection, but when I come back the next day, there's an email that says there's a deficiency. That's unacceptable. If it was failing, we should have said it failed. We should have left me feeling that way. And number two, the inspection or the final first town planning inspection shouldn't come at the end of the project. That's cost me another money. The first time it was in reference to a lack of order on permitting. The town issued me a permit prior to the Department of Health. That cost me about $5,000. We have to go back and retrofit something. Town manager actually extended my permitting, which I appreciated, but it still cost me about $5,000. Now we're at the end again, and we're talking about my sloping that I've already replaced grass, cement, and everything, and you're costing me more money. I really would like a response to my letter, and I would like to make sure that every resident can get to the elected and paid staff of the town of Montverde. You're here to support the residents. And so we need to make sure that we can get to you and that we get a response.
Can you resend that to me?
I will gladly do that.
Okay,
It was sent
thank
on April 9th, and I still have not gotten a response from anyone.
Yeah, all righty, thank you. Who else would like to talk to the council?
Good afternoon, good evening. Dr. Moore, 17029 Florence View Drive, Montverde, with Mag Terrace. Couple things. I was here at the March 10th meeting, and at that time, I heard that the charge against Mr. Morganelli was that he was convicted of a F3 felony.
We're actually gonna talk about that,
Okay,
yeah.
so,
It's on number 5, no, number 6.
well, if this is so let me speak about some other things then. My concern about the rule of only 5 minutes is fine, but not being able to come up additional. The purpose of the town meeting is to hear from the town, and I recall, Mayor, there was a meeting a few months ago where we had a debate with the builder who wanted to do the Bella Collina extension, and what they wanted to do was put 136, 140 homes or something. And I had come up here several times, and one of the times I came up, subsequently I asked you, I said, if they have R1, they can't have a gate. And then you agreed. So when that was known, then they were very happy to go to the PUD down to 102 homes. But had I not come back up here on a subsequent speak at the podium, the whole idea that we would say, well, they could just go to R1 and have 130 homes. So I don't understand this rule other than if there's, 10, 15 other people want to speak. Obviously, myself, I want to give them their due at the podium. But if something comes up later that we're told, well, you can't come up anymore, you've already had your chance. I think there should be some kind of rule that we can come up for a rebuttal of a minute or two, if you want to do that. But otherwise, I think you're limiting free speech. And the case in point is, had I not come up, Bella Collina would be here with 1/8 acre lots. They would be here with 136 homes, not 102. And that's that point. The other thing about Mr. Morganelli, if I don't get to speak later, is I think there's a case where if someone resigns and then they find out that information that led them to resign was not correct, it's a form of a discharge, which they can have some recourse. So I think the council should really think about that, because we were told it was an F3, when in fact the certified copies that we've all
We're
seen
gonna go
say
through that in a
Okay,
little
so
while.
that's
Yeah.
my point. I just want
Okay.
to make sure that,
No, you make
Your
a point
chance.
about the rebuttal, but
Okay.
we're not following this tonight, but we got to make rules, so
okay.
we'll see about adding that one or 2 minutes.
One last point. When I spoke to you about a week and a half ago,
Mhm.
and when I first learned about this thing with Mr. Morganelli, you told me if there was a mistake made, that you, the mayor, you would get it right and you would correct that. So we're hopeful that that happens.
And we're going to explain that.
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
All righty, thank you. Anybody else?
Farmer Banks Helfrich. I live in the Clay Road District, South Lake County. Farm tip of the day, you can take a twig from a mulberry tree, cut it off, put it in the ground, and in 2 years you will have a mulberry tree which gives you mulberries. And also here's a hack about mulberries. Right now on the farm, the mulberries trees are dripping with mulberries. Put a blanket underneath, shake the tree, mulberries will fall down. You can scoop them up with your hands, eat them like a child. However, your hands and your mouth will be purple. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, do we point our finger at our president and blame him for the direction of our country? Do we turn to our governor and our legislators and say they're the ones to blame for the unaffordability crisis we have in the state? Do we look towards our county commissioners and say they are to blame for the roads, county roads which are unmaintained? Do we turn to our mayors and say, you're the reason why our water bills are so high? The answer is yes, we do. We are a blaming society. We love to throw blame. My mother always said, when you point a finger at someone, you're pointing 3 right back at you. 250 years ago, July 4th, our forefathers were pointing their finger across the Atlantic Ocean. They were throwing blame at England. And until they decided to take responsibility, because you cannot throw blame and take responsibility at the same time, they took responsibility, and in doing so, they created a country, ownership of an entire country that we have today 250 years later. So we are in a point in our country's life where we have 2 choices. One, we can take responsibility and ownership of this great nation of ours, or we can point our finger and be blamers of nothing. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich, advocate for South Lake County, candidate for State House District 25. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland Avenue. Just for clarification, I'm going to be able to come up and speak on 6A. I'm not repeating it. Can
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
6A?
What'd you say?
6A. Can I come up and speak during this
6A?
time?
No. We're not on 6A yet.
He was just asking if you could come talk during 6A.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I couldn't hear him. Anybody else want to talk? All right, let's move on. All right, we're finally at town manager's grant reporting tracking.
All right. Mayor and Council, in your booklets, there's a couple reports. The first is the grant reimbursement tracking sheet. You'll find that in there. Just real quick, so far to date, the town's been reimbursed $2.6 million in grants. We have another $1,027,000 in process that we just signed the final sign off from DEP, so that should hopefully be coming in the next 30 to 45 days in. Then we have $726,000 we're putting the grant reimbursements together right now. So when you look at your overall budget to actual, I believe it's around $5.5 million. There's $1,007,000 additional funds basically will be coming through for that. That's reimbursed as a part of that. You also see our impact fee reports included, so you can take a look at that. I don't know why this thing keeps going crazy on me here. Or is that you? Don't let me click it, please. Okay. Got the grant reimbursement impact, and also the highway patrol stats are there. A little less hours than March. You can see those basically for the month of March. 78 tickets were issued, which is up there. And fire rescue report. We had 13 calls dispatched in Montverde, 1 council, 12 on scene, 31 to the other areas. I believe they did have a couple brush fires recently, so please be careful with burning as you go through. A couple other little things just to report. Did want to let the council know it's that time for we're federal on the federal side, working through Congressman Webster's office. Myself, with the help of Morgan French, we did submit a $4.4 million federal earmark in to go toward our water system for additional funds for the water system. We did a large amount. We felt like everybody talking, it's going to be a good year for another. With the elections will be coming around the corner for another possible infrastructure bill coming through. So they recommended any other large projects. So we went on our facility plan and looked to kind of finish everything out we would need to for full build out on that facility plan for that earmark. Or if we have another issue with the grant or the grants don't come through, that'll help us and assist us. Want to let you know, I mentioned at the last meeting that Sandy was working with FEMA to get some replacement money for our generator on our old well. It has issues and needs to be replaced. I'm pleased to announce that through a FEMA grant, it is a matching grant. The total project's $145,000, but we were able to get a federal match of $108,000. for that. So that'll be coming through for the council's consideration at the May meeting for you to approve that grant agreement. Then we can get that out to bid for the generator. And the town attorney and myself, we've been working with the Hills of Montverde, trying to get everything situated for the transfer of the sewer system over there. We're probably about 30 to 45 days, and we'll have that completed. I want to thank all the staff and all the volunteers, especially who came out and helped with the Easter and the town picnic. 12,000 eggs. I think we counted 3.5 minutes were gone. So it's always fun to watch that. It was great, and the town picnic was really good, and a good band afterwards. But thank you for all the volunteers that came out and helped, and especially if you're in the library, please thank Kathleen and Sandy for all the work they did on that. And also want to thank the Montverde Academy kids. They actually, for volunteer hours, they packed every one of those 12,000 eggs for the town this year. So thank you, Montverde Academy, for that. Mayor and I attended a managers meeting with all. We actually hosted it this month, or this quarter, I should say. Commissioner Parks hosts a meeting with all the South Lake County mayors and managers to kind of go over things that are impacting the county, such as roads, funding, what's in the budget. Usually the town manager comes to that meeting and kind of updates us. So it was good to host that. I think everybody was very impressed with our building and our town. Willow Ridge Phase 2, our engineering team and Sean, we did the walkthrough punch list for Phase 2, so we're getting them a list out there, and once they get those items complete, then that Phase 2 will go over to a maintenance bond. I believe it's a 4-year maintenance bond. We'll have that for all the public infrastructure in Phase 2 out there. There was a lot of little curbs that need to replace, just some little things along that line. The main thing was landscaping. I think there's a lot of trees that were planted under caliper from what was required, so we're going to make them replace those trees out there. And Mayor and Council, that's all I have for the manager's report.
All righty, we'll move on through it. Our town attorney has anything? Thank you. Our town planner, Lisa.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'd just like to make a quick report. We reviewed about 21 zoning clearances in the last month. So I think it's picked up just a little bit from the previous month. Wednesday meetings are going well. The last couple of Wednesdays we've had a couple of residents come to each meeting, so that's great. Gives us a chance to talk about their projects that they're working on before they actually start the building permit process. So that's going well. And just wanted to mention again, Iman, if you wouldn't mind showing those slides, or Paul. I'd like to mention again these, we have how-to guides. If you're thinking about doing a project at your home, you can come into the library. There's a rack near the front desk, and you can pick up one of these sheets, and you can scan a QR code, and it tells you a little bit about the project, some things that you may want to think about, such as if you're going to build an accessory structure, or if you need a retaining wall in your yard. Gives you some introductory type of information, and then at the bottom of the sheet is a secondary QR code that you can go straight to the town's land development code and learn all about the code for that particular project. So just a quick reminder that that's available. Thank you.
Can you explain Wednesdays?
Yes, thank you. The planning staff is available every Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. So if you'd like to come in, you're welcome to make an appointment, or you can just pop in. However, we do recommend an appointment. Sometimes there's a little bit of a line. So just to, make sure that we don't waste your time, and we're welcome to come in, and we're happy to talk to you about any project you have.
All righty, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Our county commissioner, Sean.
Yeah, just let me emphasize that what Lisa said again, encouraging. I know this is a bit repetitive, but we highly encourage you to take advantage of the QR codes, take advantage of office hours, which we've started as indicated recently. The code is complex, although Montverde's is relatively simple compared to other codes, but there's a lot of questions. Again, your contractor is going to probably know a lot of this, but we still recommend that they come in to use QR codes or meet with staff. If you're trying to do it on your own, you can do that, but it's even a little more complex, and it could be a little more risky in a sense of trying to make sure everything's developed according to code, because the town has to follow the code. So come in, again, repetitive, we're going to say this every meeting now for a while just to get the word out. It's helpful. There's nobody more friendly than Patty and Lisa, and we try to answer all your questions and make this as facilitative as possible. I know the rules, but we're trying to make it as facilitative as possible. Come into those meetings, check out the QR codes. So thank you. Now for your county commission report, nothing new to report other than I can report that the property that is of great interest within the Ferndale protection area, the 300 acres that has been bantied about over the years, concerns over it being developed in Mineola, not being developed in Mineola, and as the mayor knows, leading the effort with the ISBA to get it renewed for another 20 years. The county did that, as well as Montverde, Mineola, and Claremont. I can report that they have submitted an application, or in the process of submitting the application for that property to be purchased through the county public lands referendum. To be very clear and upfront, it does not necessarily mean that that will be selected to be purchased. So we don't know. Well, we may know. The county plat committee will meet now and go through those applications in the next couple of months through this summer, and make a decision in ranking, and there's a lot of things that have to follow after that. But just happy to report that that property has actually been submitted. So word is right in the process, which is a good thing, because the deadline's this Friday for that.
To turn in your...
For the public lands referendum bond, the $50 million for properties that would be purchased.
What's Friday, though?
Friday's the deadline for this submittal, this submittal cycle for using that money. We'll probably open it back up again next year for additional properties, but I just thought you would be interested, they would be interested, because that's a property that's right down the road from us. It has been submitted or is in the process. Again, the deadline's this Friday, so it's a good thing. It's nothing like the last minute, but we'll go through that, and it could, maybe it'll be acquired. We don't know yet. But.
Right, but we should add that, yes, it's under an ISBA right now, protected for another 19 years, but the governor, for example, could very easily have somebody put it in to get voted on to do away with every ISBA in Florida. So that would wipe that out right there, that fast. And is there any way that each individual could send something to the county to show that they want that to be purchased from the money that we have?
I'll let you know when the time is right for that.
Okay.
Right now, they just got to, they're getting the application, and we want to make sure it's complete first. So I would let the council know publicly when the time would be right, so that anybody could write and support that.
Where that property is, the 300 acres, is, you're coming through, you pass 561A on your left, and you're going towards Traverse, and that guy has that kind of farm on the left that, it's a pretty big place. And then he has the white fence he just put on across the street on 455. That 300 acres surrounds it. The whole goes up the north side, all the way down the west side, and all the way back to 455. That 300 acres is what Sean's talking about. So we would like to protect that and make it a park or whatever, and it would never be built on. Like the one on 561, going on the other side of Claremont.
Or Ferndale Preserve, sure.
Yeah, that one. It's like that one, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
Sean,
what
to
county
be
would
clear,
do?
I was going to say everything in that program will be set aside for green space or park space, or it can't be built on forever, correct?
That's correct, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, that wouldn't be permissible. Right.
Yeah, we're going to have to get involved in getting a campaign going. We're Little Montverde, but we can do some damage with it. We can move it forward. Okay.
I also want to thank staff who's meeting with some friends from Ferndale about the Ferndale Cemetery, getting that, trying to protect that and then promote that a little bit, fix it up, as well as the community center. And that was a result of a meeting we had last year. The county commission actually met. The entire commission did in the Baptist church there in Ferndale, and there was some requests that came out of that meeting. So we're trying to show everybody we're working through some of those requests and giving updates on it. So thank you.
Oh, no, great job. Alrighty, move on to our town council. Brian, do you have something?
I don't have anything specifically to report on, but I do have a few items that I hope we could take action on. Obviously, earlier, one of the residents mentioned about the contact information. I know there is a hyperlink, but you have to click on it, and then it opens up a new window, and then obviously your email address is there. Is it possible for us to actually have on the website our emails, and then if we choose to give our cell phone numbers, then put them on there? So that way residents have a way to reach us if they need to?
Yeah, most definitely. So I'll have email make those changes. We just switched over to a new internet provider or servicer, and so they're going through and going to start doing updates. Because I know, for instance, you click on a council member's face and it just gets big. Well, we need to get that where it actually goes to their email or address. So those are some of the things. So we'll get that corrected now, and we're probably within 30 days of launching the Montverde app too. So we're doing testing on it right now. So that'll also give access. I believe there's a section on there that has it for government or council where they can click on that app, and we're going to try to get it to link directly to where they can send you an email or something.
Okay. And then also the phone number, right? I assume we can put our phone numbers on there?
If you want it. That's up to you if you want your cell phone numbers, yeah. Otherwise, we'll put the town hall number on there, then we'll take a message for you and email it to you, whatever council prefers.
Is it possible for the town to send a thank you card to the MVA students that volunteered? Can we send them something from the town, just a letter of appreciation, anything?
Yeah, Sandy may already have. I'll follow up and check with them. They did share in some wonderful candy and sugar, I know that. So.
And then Lisa mentioned the QR codes for the DIY, people who want to do permitting or whatever they need to build. Do we have that on the website? Do we have those links? Do we? Obviously not the QR code or even just the document itself.
You might know. I don't think we have them yet.
They're not currently on the website.
Yeah, they just literally started within the last few weeks. So
but we could definitely add them now.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, we're going to we're remaking the whole website of trying to make it a little more friendly, user friendly.
Now, in regards to the permitting process, I have heard from many residents, they've had issues over the past. Obviously, the process is not so clear. It might be clear for contractors who do this for a living, but for the everyday person who's not a business, obviously it's not going to come easily to them. I know we have the resource on Wednesdays for them to come, but I guess what I'm trying to get to is it possible to survey, I don't know, whether the last 3 months or 6 months of permits, and just send like some type of email survey just to kind of see what issues people are encountering, at least get some type of feedback to improve the process, I guess, is really what I'm thinking that we should be doing, I guess.
Sure. One big change we're still looking at, hopefully flipping over to iWorks, which is going to make that interaction a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But without doubt, 95% of our problems and where you hear the complaints from are from owner builders who come in and are the general contractor themselves. They just don't have the expertise on some of the areas, such as pulling product codes that have to be turned into the building inspector. And in some instance, there's things that you have to do under the code. And if you just haven't done before, and we're not in a position as staff, we can't give advice on what to do. We can point them to the code and have them submit stuff to us so we can review. But we can't go out there and tell them what to do or how to do it, because it creates, obviously, liability for the town. And that's where we're running problems to. Someone does something expecting this is okay, but yet it doesn't meet the code. Obviously, what Ms. Tarver came up is, the slopes. The town is a 1-to-4 slope, 25% max, and her slope is close to 50%. So, you got, if you didn't know what the code was, you probably didn't know you had to do that. And the council's never, the option is you go through and actually have full civil engineering plans with everything drawn out for the town, but that makes it very expensive for the residents to do. So that's the trade-off. Sometimes there's a lot of, we don't require, I guess, a full extensive plans of what we normally could require, because we want to try to save money for people doing things, the full survey showing exactly where everything's going to go, how it's going to be done, because council hasn't wanted done that in the past. So we have these areas here where we run into problems. So Patty has been, with that, I know Patty has been responding, because Patty's been coming to me, and I've been helping Patty respond to the problem that came up. There's a possible solution there, or I guess 2 solutions, or probably 3 solutions that she can choose from. But with that said, she also, you know, our engineer was in town on Thursday, I think last week, Wednesday or Thursday last week, and he was going to go out and look at it. But we also had an email for her. She didn't want staff on the property. So we couldn't even come out to have the engineer look at it because that was the last email we had. So there, that's what I had from Patty that didn't want us on there. Okay, that's what I was told by Patty. Okay. So if that's the case, you know, if you could submit something to the engineer, I think we sent you an email today that there could be a possible grid thing, a geogrid that could do. It may or may not require a variance. We'd have to see what your engineer submit. You have the option of a wall or coming in for a variance. So there's 3 different options there that.
The original drawings showed it, just to respond, since I can't come up. The original drawings actually showed it. It was my error, but it should have been caught by the 15 inspections that happened prior.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, with that said, I mean, that's the thing. We get called out when inspections come. The building inspector looks at the building. We come out when they call in for CO inspection. That's when we look at the grades and the dirt and everything else. So, because we don't know in 50% of the process if the dirt's going to change or the thing's going to change. But anyway, with that said, I mean, that's where we run into problems. So I think what we need to do is home in and have council look and see if you want to change the requirements and actually have them turn in full drawings. That would eliminate a lot of the problems we're having for the review. We can't, you know, we often, hey, I wasn't told to do this or told to do that, but the problem is the building, we don't know what they don't know or do know, and if we attach the whole building code, I mean, it's going to be a permit that thick. So you have to look through the building code when you build, if that makes a long answer, but that's where we're running into
And I
issues.
totally understand that. We could possibly add it to workshop if we're in consensus.
It would be a good
on-
workshop discussion. I would agree with you.
and
It
then
needs to be talked about.
Back to the survey. The survey is not necessarily for like the technical items. It's just more for us to get a better sense as to how we're doing with our communication, our responsiveness, our professionalism. You know, it's just things that I highly believe in that, you know, we should be looking at. At the end of the day, we are providing a service to the residents. So it's just something that we could possibly do. Anyone who comes in contact with the town, pulling a permit or doing anything, we could just send them an automatic survey with a few questions.
Sure.
It won't be time consuming, and then every month or so you could just forward it to the rest of the council. We could just take a look at it.
Sure. Yeah. Let me put it as the whole thing as a discussion item, the next workshop, and
Okay.
let's walk through kind of what
Appreciate
you're
it.
thinking.
Thank you, Paul.
No problem.
That's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Grant?
Yeah, just looking for any update on the sidewalk on Fosgate and Ridgewood. Looking for an update on the sidewalk
On.
Ridgewood and Fosgate.
Oh yes. So the town.
They can't hear you. Is
Yeah,
that
I
on?
kind of. If you could adjust it up.
Is
a
that
little
on?
bit.
They're saying they can't
Try it
hear you.
It was on.
Okay, there you go.
Can you hear them
update-
now? Okay.
So update on the sidewalk on Fosgate and Bridgewood. So the town is, I met with the county, had the county engineers come out and public works director. We walked the site, we got everything laid out. So we do have a permit from the town to proceed with the sidewalk. So I'm just waiting on surveying to be done. So they did give us a kind of a build as you go permit, which is nice. So we don't have to spend a bunch of money on civil. So it has the specs of the sidewalk in it that we do. So the next process, the surveyor is going to be out there probably next week, and they're going to start on Fosgate, and they're going to survey the right-of-way line, and based off that survey would be the placement of the sidewalk. So it's basically just going to follow the grade of the road and meet the ADA guidelines of the slope guidelines, which is 2% side slope, 5% vertical slope. So I expect the whole thing would be done probably toward the end of May.
That's it.
Alrighty. I was going to ask, I think it's both Anita and Paul, an update on Ferndale, the sewer guy, the sewer company, and the community building and Chris Anthony's property.
Sure, I could probably start, and Sean might have a little bit. So last I've heard on the person that built the sewer place in the Ferndale area, which is in the ISBA, so the ISBA protection area as a commercial. My understanding, he started a variance process, but his attorney is now claiming some type of vested right there, and they were exploring that with the county. I'm not sure. I haven't heard if it's gone any further. I've not got any further notice if it's proceeding through the variance process at this point.
So I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, so I think the owner's legally challenging that he has vested rights to do what he's doing there, and so he's going through that process with the county. because he's saying I've done it before the Ferndale protection area was ever instituted ever X amount years ago. So I haven't heard any updates from the county on that or have seen anything for our comments come through.
Do you guys think Sean and Anita, do you think that'll get traction? We can't tell right now.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything, if they submitted anything in writing to the county. I haven't seen a copy of it, so.
Okay.
And what was the other thing, Mayor? I'm sorry. What was the other thing you
Oh,
asked?
community building in Chris Anthony property.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't heard anything new on Chris Anthony. Have you, Anita? So last I talked to him, his lawyers were still putting it together and for the town. So I think that probably got completed, but I haven't followed up with them to see if that has. And the community building, I've done nothing with the community building, or have looked at it yet. So.
Do you got plans to get together with vendors or anything, buddy?
I haven't yet. No, just be honest, I haven't, but I can.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably need to also address it in the budget. I think the decision is we can get some vendors and get some ballpark price, and the council's got to kind of decide, because depending on what you do, the funds could come from general funds or possibly impact fee funds or different things. So there's some different options.
We have parks in our impact fees, right?
Correct. The only way you can do parks if you do an expansion of the building and kind of a removal of the building. If you want to rehab what's there, you're going to have to use general funds. So.
I spent about 1,000 hours in the community building. We just need to cut off the back and make it bigger, and that's an impact fee expense.
For the expansion part, it would be.
Yeah.
Then the rehab would then come out of general off of the old part.
Alrighty.
Would you like to put that on a workshop too? Council?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it's been sitting too long. Yeah. Okay, that's it for me. Move on. The beginning balance was $5,594,653.24. Our ending balance last month was $5,064,564.02. Moving on to the consent agenda. We have 2 minutes we need to approve from March 3rd and March 10th. Need a motion or open it up to public? Anybody read the minutes? Have to do with it? Bring it back to council. Anybody want to make a motion in a second?
I'll go ahead and motion to approve the meeting minutes held on March 3rd, 2026, and then also on March 10th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, against say no. Nays, nobody said nay. Okay, and now we're moving on to section 6, number A, or letter A, and we're going to discuss about the regarding appointment of a vacant seat. Now, to get ready for this, what I wanted to do was, could you do me a favor and pass these out? I made copies of the communications that the council got from our attorney on March 10th. There's about 40 there. Yeah, just everybody. And the communications we got from our attorney, I believe it was April 8th. And I wanted to ask Anita if she would just explain to us these 2 memos that we got, so everybody can understand what the council was looking at. Is that okay?
Sure. So as I had explained previously, I had received information concerning Mr. Morganelli and his ability to hold office. The documentation indicated a felony of a 3rd degree out of Pennsylvania. So that information council was requesting to know what was going on and what the status of that, looking into that was. So a memo was provided to council on March 10th with that information that I had at that time. I had hired an attorney out of the state of Pennsylvania who's licensed to practice in Pennsylvania, who also practices in the area of whether somebody in Pennsylvania has the ability to hold office. And so he was conducting research on that matter, and that was the information that I was waiting to receive that had not yet been received at the time that council set the special meeting. And I had anticipated having that available at that time, but we certainly would have had it subsequently. Part of that review also included having an attorney who is licensed to practice in criminal law look at the documents that I had obtained from the clerk's office in Pennsylvania. The clerk's docketing information showed felony. The one document that was identified by the criminal attorney out of Pennsylvania indicated that the actual plea sheet that Mr. Morganelli signed was a misdemeanor of the first degree. In Pennsylvania, the punishment for a first-degree misdemeanor is up to 5 years in prison. And so it is possible that that still would precludes him from holding office in Pennsylvania. It may still preclude him from holding office in Florida, but that is something that has not been looked into at our level because Mr. Morganelli did resign. However, it's my understanding that the state is reviewing this and they will be offering an opinion on whether or not he has the ability to hold office here in Florida based on the first-degree misdemeanor conviction that, as I said, indicates in Pennsylvania that you can be sentenced to up to 5 years in prison. So that's the status of it now, is that the state has the information, and we hope that we will get some sort of response from the state.
Okay, so that what you got handed out there was the 2 emails that Anita sent to the council to bring us up to date on what was going on before our meeting. So that was the information we were given. And now that this has uncovered that there was a mistake way back when, that the F3, which is felony 3rd degree, was on record for 30 years, and now it's been changed and corrected to miscellaneous M1 that is in Pennsylvania is, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, in Pennsylvania that is a infamous crime that is punishable up to 5 years in prison, and the person does get their voting rights back in Pennsylvania but does not get the right to run for office if that applies in Florida law. And right now, what's the office that's looking at it? The state attorney, or not the state attorney?
I think it's the state division of elections.
Yes,
but
the
I'm
state.
not positive.
I'm pretty sure it's the state division of elections is looking at it, and they're going to review everything that is on this, what we just explained, and come back with their opinion on whether Mr. Morganelli can hold office in Florida or cannot hold office in Florida. After they come back with their opinion, we'll be able to move forward, obviously, to the next step, and we're all willing to wait and see if that comes through first before we appoint anybody. I'm not in favor of appointing anybody. I think everybody would agree here. So just to be fair, and after they come back with their opinion, then the council will move forward on whatever the opinion is. And if it's the opinion is to he can, well then automatically his name is in the people that wants the position right now. If he comes back he can't, well then the council has 2 choices: to replace the position now or just wait till November and let the voters vote somebody back in. So that's the whole picture right now, as best as we can explain it. And I hope the ones that I just had handed out to you, after you read it, I would have to read it a couple of times, I'm slower. So after you read that, you understand. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. I'll open it up to anybody that wants to.
Mr. Mayor, before you open it up, I have a few questions for Ms. Anita.
Well, we have to wait now too, because I have to open up the public first on the agenda items, and then it comes back. Am I missing something, Anita? Tell me.
Not necessarily. I just wanted to ask questions just in case someone wanted to, you know.
Yeah, I think council can talk about it first.
Okay,
before
that's
you
fine,
open
as
it
long
up.
as I'm not doing it wrong.
Yeah. All right. So, Ms. Anita, so the email that you sent out on, well, the last one, I should say.
4/8, I think it is.
It was March 8th, which was Wednesday of last week.
April 8th. April.
Yeah, it was Wednesday the 8th. You sent it out to council members and the town manager only, or was that also sent out to anyone else?
No, I just sent it to council, the 4 council members and the town manager.
Okay. But it is public record, so if someone was to request it, technically they could see it, correct?
Yes, they can submit a request for public records.
Paul, question for you. how long does it take to do a records request or to fulfill a records request, like just asking for that email in specific? If the email was sent out on Wednesday, I don't know, let's say you received it Wednesday afternoon, how long would that take to kick it back to whoever requested that records request?
It would really just depend on, I guess, what the scope of the question is. Lately, we've had a backlog of public records requests. So we had one from an attorney that they paid a whole lot of money that was tons of dozens of pages that we were behind on trying to get that done. So we can't let everything get too backlogged. So we do it as quickly as we can. But Caroline's, I would almost venture 40 to 50% of her job for the last month's been fulfilling public records requests.
I'm asking these questions because a resident posted that exact email on Saturday, and I highly doubt that there was a records request made between Wednesday afternoon, fulfilled Thursday, because you guys don't work on Friday. So my question is, you know, that was given to that resident by someone who received that email, and I want to know who it was.
I sent that out to a few people.
Okay. Is that standard procedure? Can we do that? Or can we share information like that openly?
Nothing precludes the council from disseminating information. Obviously, if it's something about pending litigation or something like that, then I would caution you not to share that. But this is not under pending
you're allowed
litigation.
to do that.
Yeah, but now here's where I'm trying to get to is, obviously, yes, that is internal matter, right, that we're dealing with. Yes, the residents could request that, fine. But for someone to post it online to further continue to criticize a former council member, you know, that was the intention of that. At least that what comes to mind. I feel that, you know, us council members, we're going to share, great, but just, you know, don't make it with the intentions of continuing to criticize and add more fuel to the fire. That's all. Ms. Anita, I also have another question. When you looked into Mr. Morganelli's felony 3 that was delivered to you anonymously in an envelope at your office, who did you report that back to initially?
I brought it to the attention of the town manager.
Okay. Now, who gave you further guidance to investigate that?
No one.
So you took it upon yourself to investigate that? Okay. Is that standard protocol?
Yes, when I receive something that would preclude somebody from holding office that could be in violation of your charter, then I believe it's my duty to look into it and then report what I find to the council for you to take further action.
Understood. Now, let me ask you this. At the end of last year, there was an email that was sent to us, and it was in regards questioning the residency of a current council member. Did you investigate that?
No, I did not.
Is it the same thing? Is it essentially challenging that person's qualifications to hold office?
I don't believe that I received that directly as a complaint.
I have the email.
would have to
I
go
think
back
it was
and look.
CC'd to everyone, but okay.
Okay. I don't recall. I should not have answered that the way I did because I don't recall. I don't even know when it was.
Okay. So I bring this up because, you know, if we're going to follow a process, it should be straight across the board. It shouldn't be we pick and choose when we want to enforce it, when we don't want to enforce it, when we want to look or close our eyes. And that's why I bring that up. Aside from that, the resident sentiments, you know, and I'm sure we're going to hear here shortly, you know, they believe that this process has been unfair by us removing Mr. Morganelli, or at least trying to, and therefore he resigned. Yes, he took it upon himself, but he was kind of cornered. We're taking a vote from 608 people. So, you know, obviously we're going to hear the comments of residents, and I guess once the comments are over, I'll finish this part.
Okay, well, I was explaining this to a couple of people, knowing that I was going to give it out to everybody tonight. So I said, well, so you could understand it better, I emailed it to people.
But they posted it online.
I don't know what they do with
somebody, so they used it as a weapon.
I didn't tell them to use it as a weapon. I'm giving everybody tonight. Okay, I gave everybody this tonight so they could understand what's going on and what the county saw. I mean, the council saw. I'm not hiding this. This is public knowledge.
And I understand that, but now, let's
Had
take
they
that-
said to me that I'm going to use this as a weapon, Joe, I would have said, well, okay, I'm not going to give it to you then.
let's take this a little bit further. The anonymous envelope folder that Ms. Anita received with the felony information on it was also shared. And I find it disturbing that practically, I'll say, a handful of residents had that I'm talking about weeks before I even received the first email from Ms. Anita about that. How is it that there's residents out there that are more informed than I am, and now I serve on the council? So again, that started rumors. It was weaponized as well. So I wasn't going to bring that up, but at the end of the day, I just want people to know that, when you do something, there are consequences, and sometimes there are unintended consequences, but they are. And at the end of the day, Mr. Morganelli, he's a person just like everyone else, like us. So if I was in his shoes, I'll be extremely upset as well. But I think that we should stop sharing things. If they do a public records request, obviously by all means. But for us to share things and then they get out of hand, it's the fault of the person who shared it. So
It's legal, though.
Doesn't make it right.
If I choose that I want to give somebody something and it's perfectly legal, that's my choice. Everybody wasn't, I'm not talking to you guys. Okay, let's bring, I'm sorry?
You won't talk to us, but you'll ask for our votes. Thank you.
Anyway, everybody understand where Mr. Morganelli and the process is by looking at this? We're gonna ask for people in a minute. Relax. I just want to make sure everybody understands this. And please don't go out and weaponize this.
It's already been done.
Oh, doggone it. Okay, who wants to come up? Come on up, Joe.
Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland. I really wasn't going to say a lot tonight, to be honest. Thank you. To you, Brian. A little emotional from that. That's actually interesting. So I know you say you don't want to weaponize. I get that. But you also gave my criminal record report to Jim Peacock, who then handed it out to all of my neighbors through a text message. And I have record of that. So I know you say you don't want to weaponize it, but that's weaponizing it. That's the definition of it. And, we have to be adults here. So what I will do is I will formally withdraw. Hang on, I'm going to read this. I hereby rescind my resignation from the Montverde Town Council, tendered March 12, 2026. That resignation was given under duress and based on material misrepresentations. All rights, claims, and remedies are expressly reserved. So I guess what I'm going to wrap up with, I do have an email from Tallahassee. The only thing I'm going to say to you is, if you would like to read the actual Constitution that's there, that clause, the first fork in the road is, do you have a felony? You can't go beyond that. That's it. If you don't have a felony, you're off the ramp. That's what I have confirmation of. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Kelly Moore, 17029 Florence View Drive. My wife and my family, we live here in Montverde. We've been here 11 years. We were 10 years over in Verde Ridge, so we've been in this area for 21 years. I started teaching part-time at Lake Sumter State College in 2006. I teach a lot of classes around Central Florida. I've been teaching anatomy for 30 years. I've trained 15,000 nurses in the area. And to spend a lot of time on this is really concerning to my family. My wife is here with me tonight. When I was here March 10th, what this printout that everybody got tonight, what it's missing is the certified copies that I heard we ordered and we read. And the one thing that was omitted on that record that night and on the emails that sent out, because this is what the council members got, but I don't see the certified copy that they received. Because the certified copy says that the pled to crime was a misdemeanor 1, and that was in 1997, May 15th. So I don't know why that was omitted, and then this isn't waiting for a criminal defense attorney or whatnot in Pennsylvania. It was on the certified copies. Now, Mr. Morganelli didn't get that. He was waiting on his parents to bring that to him because they were in Philadelphia. So when he resigned on the 12th, he did so because he was told by the opinion of the town attorney that he had an F3. I was sitting here, I heard it. I've watched it on YouTube 3 or 4 times. I read the posted thing on the Montverde. Nowhere there did it say that it was a misdemeanor. However, I understand that council got a copy of that very certified record, and it says in 2, if not 3 places, that it was a misdemeanor 1. So that's the omission that I would like to have an education about. I don't practice law, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm trying to understand how a guy who's come here to serve our community was told he had a felony F3 here in these chambers, and yet the certified copy that council got, and I understand that the town attorney ordered and received to verify the database which is being updated, that the ordered and received copies definitely said misdemeanor 1. And I think a lot of people would like to understand what that is. Now, I must also share that, I think that Anita's done a good job here, but she's also, I think, serves on board of directors, and she is one of my top bosses in the job I hold at Lake Sumner. I taught there this morning. I love those students. I love that college. I give them everything I have. And I would like to learn why that omission was, and I hope that I want to learn. That's what I want to understand. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Anybody else?
May I
Oh, sure,
respond?
sure.
So on March 10th, the memo was provided at the council meeting, or shortly before the council meeting. I think it was Councilmember Rubio that asked for the attachments. Certainly someone on council asked for it. On the 11th, I provided copies of those documents. Mr. Morganelli was included on those documents, and he did receive them. When we met with Mr. Morganelli, when I first received the document, he admitted to it. So I'm not putting the blame on him. Obviously, we need to do our research. We have to show that it was correct, which is why I hired attorneys in the state of Pennsylvania to look at that. But all along, we asked that he and his attorney provide us any information regarding his conviction, providing us with any case law or opinions that they had, and he would not agree to do that. I provided these documents, as I said, on March 10th. He was given copies, like you were, of those backup documents on March 11th. I didn't speak with him probably since before the beginning of March. So for him to say that I coerced him, I was presenting the information that I had, and I was waiting for the information that was received out of the state of Pennsylvania. So I just wanted to answer, or to respond to Dr. Moore's questions, but those documents were provided to council and to Mr. Morganelli.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. Neil Frazier, 166 437th Street. You said, Anita, that you hired the attorney. You hired it. Are you going to build the town back for that? Or you hired it? Who hired it? You or the town hired it?
On behalf of the town, I hired an attorney that
okay.
was qualified out of the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay, all right. And I was here when you read that, and I'm going to tell you, I never seen such coercion in my life. I mean, holy cow, that was some Ides of March shit right there. I mean, it was, and it happened in the right month. I'll give you credit for that. So, I'm just saying, for even to put his name in a pool of other names to decide who's going to be the councilman is wrong. The man needs to be reappointed and just need to do your job. Recognize felony, melony. You don't know the difference between the two, okay? So that's all I'm going to say.
Well, please recognize that the council, again, is not moving forward with replacing that position at this time.
You said you were gonna put pool people together, dude. I just heard it.
Dude, I'm saying we're not going to move forward at this time. I have people that have applied for the position. I don't even know if we're going to go there at this point. I'm just telling you, at this point, we're waiting for the state of Florida to review everything and come back with their opinion and tell us what they think we should do. Not an attorney that we're hiring. We're waiting for the state of Florida to come back. And that's it. You're done. What you got?
One more thing. So, obviously, we heard the sentiments of the residents. The way I look at this, based on what Anita provided and what we so back to, obviously, we just heard the sentiments of the residents. Obviously, I reviewed what Miss Anita sent. To me, we dropped the ball. To me, the burden is on us, or in this case, Miss Anita, to prove what essentially she wanted to prove, which he had a felony. So we failed there because he did not have a felony. He was charged with a felony, but he was convicted with a misdemeanor. The other component to this, I don't understand how we're trying to apply PA law when we live in the state of Florida. I don't have to be an attorney, have a bar license, and it's common sense, at least the way I see it. I think what we should do, and the right thing to do, is reappoint Mr. Morganelli. Either way, elections are coming. And hopefully by that time we have a final say from whatever department we're waiting on. So that's
make a
my 2
motion.
cents. All right, so I motion to reappoint Mr. Joe Morganelli effective immediately. And in addition to this, the town must retract any statements that was put out in regards to this felony case.
Okay, I have a motion on the table. I need a second.
You second it, Joe.
All in favor? No second. It falls. So we're going to wait until the state comes back and gives us their opinion. And as far as listening to the residents, yeah, you got some people here to make a noise, but I've been listening to other people too. So we're going to wait for the state. I'm sorry. Come on up.
Jim Peacock, 16549 Lowry Road. You mentioned about the vacant seat, waiting until November, if that's the fact, to have somebody fill that seat. I believe the town charter requires, if a vacant seat is vacant more than 3 months before an election, that it is to be filled by the council. Is that not correct?
It's something in the charter. I don't remember exactly. We can read that, but hopefully we don't even have to worry about that.
Well, I understand that, but if it comes down to it, we're going to have, you're saying we could have a vacant seat all the way until November, and that's not right either. The town charter, I believe, specifically states if it's vacant more than 3 months before election, someone is to be appointed by the council.
You want that seat bad, don't you, Jim?
I never said that. I never said that.
You've been appointed 5 times. Sit down and let them out.
Hey, I don't want to end the meeting right here, okay? So just be quiet.
I'm just asking a simple question.
Yeah. Well, we're all here to do something. Maybe you're not.
Is that,
Go ahead. I don't know. I don't have the charter in front of me.
Anita?
We can look
You've
into
got
it.
a view on that?
Wait a minute. She'll pick it up.
If there are more than 60 days remaining before the next regular town election is scheduled, the council shall, by majority vote of the remaining members, appoint a qualified person to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the unexpired term of office. So it uses the word shall, which is directive.
So
Hasn't expired, though.
what's your opinion on that?
So you said it's 60 days?
If there's more than 60 days remaining before the next election, which there is.
Okay. I thought it was 90, but 60. Okay.
So what did shall mean? I'm sorry. I didn't understand that.
Shall means
Will you be quiet? I'm just going to, you know what? Why don't we recess the meeting, call Lake County and have him removed?
Okay, we'll do that, Mayor.
All right, it looks like our problem left, so we'll start at 8:30.
In America, you're innocent until proven guilty.
They created an entire meeting at that meeting the following week to talk about this whole thing. So there wasn't a rush to judgment. So
Wrongful termination is when you tell someone something is a lie.
what is duress?
You tell them you're a felon when you know they're not. And the certified copies went out. It'll come out, sir. It will. It is. Come on.
You said duress is if they had a place schedule.
Because the certified copy said misdemeanor and was read as a felony. That will come out. And you told me, you know, you said you would make this correct. And so, if there's some...
What I'm trying to do is get the opinion of the state at this point.
Right.
What else can I do?
what you should have done is point back your seat so the opinion comes back and says you don't have a seat. Because what you're doing is you're punishing him as he was a felon. It was bad enough to put it into a newsletter without even having it. You had certified copies. I'm
The
sure
state's
how they
looking
got
at
there.
everything.
Because you're calling him
He
a
resigned
felon.
You can go ahead and fire the mics back up for starting. Sounds like maybe he muted us during the recess.
All right, let's go ahead and start again. All right, everybody, we'll get started again here. Okay, so we're still on item 6, our discussion of action item 6, discussion regarding the appointment to vacant council seat. Anybody else want to talk to council?
Hi, my name is Linda Ellsworth, and I'm at one.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Pull that mic down towards you. Yeah, there you go.
My name is Linda Ellsworth, and I'm at 17047 Florence View Drive. I need a clarification. Did I understand you as saying that if Mr. Morganelli, if the state comes back and says he's able to serve, that you're going to put him in a pool with the names of other people that want that position?
Well, that's for the council to decide.
Why would the council get to decide that? Wouldn't the state then, if they say he was able to serve, and it was the council's mistake not knowing that the felony was actually a misdemeanor, then why would you have to give an option for that? Why would you not just reinstate? If that was the case, if that turns out to be the case, why is it your judgment that he
Well,
should have to
when it is the
rerun?
case, we'll cross that bridge now. There's no point in talking in that right now.
Well,
That
I
might
would
be
make the point that if that comes to
We'll
that,
come back at that
I
time.
don't think that would be fair. The people of this town have also already voted him in. And
Right.
if he was removed in an error, he should not be required to rerun again. And I think that would be unfair, and it would show your bias.
Come back and tell
And
us
that's
that
my
at the
opinion.
appropriate time. Thank you. Do you want to answer any of that? Okay. I think the council will be more than happy to do the right thing at that time. Come on up.
Fairly new here, but when Mr. Rubio made the motion, there's 3 other council members here and the pressure was put on you, Mayor, but there's two others, and nobody wanted to second that, and I was wondering, what am I missing that nobody else wanted to second that motion? It made sense, obviously, the residents were for it.
Well, what the council's waiting for, and why I didn't second it, is the council's understanding, right, at this point, this is how I understand it, because I don't want to say the council. I understand it that in Pennsylvania, like I've said before, the M1 is the infamous crime, and it goes back to prison. It can have prison time, and in Pennsylvania, they give back the person their right to vote, but not the right to hold office. The Tallahassee is going to make the decision, does that or does not apply here. If it doesn't apply here, so be it. But if it does apply here, well, then he can't hold office here. So since it's already in Tallahassee,
But
we're not
nothing has been
asking another lawyer.
Nothing has been determined yet.
I'm sorry?
Nothing has been determined yet.
No, what I'm saying, once they determine it, then we'll move forward with what we're going to do at that point.
Why wasn't he holding office until then?
I'm sorry?
Why wasn't he was holding and staying in his position because he
Why was he what?
resigned?
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he resigned.
Is that why he's not?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
Otherwise-
he resigned before we got the last part of the, that's why
Okay,
you have
now
this, so
you're
you can
waiting-
see.
Now you're waiting for
You can see the different things in the order that they happened. You need to pay attention to that. And
Just
Okay.
to add, he resigned. You have to understand that this became a public show. He has a family, a business. If you were in his position, wouldn't you want to make a stop? Right? So,
I was just wondering because you made a motion and no one
yeah,
seconded it.
and that's why I
Thank
wanted
you.
to bring that up, yeah.
Hi,
My name is Sharon Hildenbrand.
pull the mic up to you.
My name is Sharon Hildenbrand. I'm at 17843 Florence View Drive. My question is, I just want to sort through. You can't hear?
Is the mic on?
Hello?
Yeah, you go.
I just need to talk louder. Okay. Just want to sort through this a little bit for myself. Did the board know of this issue when Mr. Morganelli was onboarded?
Was it the what now?
Did the board know? Did you know this
Speak it
issue?
straight into there.
Did the board know this issue when Mr. Morganelli was onboarded to his position?
On board, what do you mean?
Brought to the job
When he was elected.
when he was elected?
No, no.
Okay, so, you know, there's some responsibility here on both sides. I have a funny feeling because you're supposed to be working with one another. You're supposed to trust one another, right? And even though the mayor takes a lot of responsibility, you're all leaders, right? Now, leadership position means that you're honest with one another about a situation you may know of that puts you in jeopardy. I don't know Mr. Morgan. I think he's brought a lot of great issues when I've heard him up here. I think he's a really added asset to the board, or the council rather. But you have to be honest with one another. And I think I even heard him say that people around him knew the issue. So why didn't you guys know? Why was it a surprise? It shouldn't have been a surprise to you all. You should have known because he would have trusted you. Right? That's leadership. So I have a funny feeling responsibility is on both sides. And I know there's a very vocal group here that is arguing one side, but there's a quiet group here not. Right? So, and he does have a family, and it shouldn't be getting ugly, and that's happening in this town. I'm getting a little concerned because he's not the only one that it's happening to. Right? So we got to stop. Got to stop. That's leadership. Right? We see both sides, and we don't argue it so publicly, that we settle it. just my opinion. But I appreciate your effort in all of this, and that you're trying to resolve it as fairly as you possibly can. And if it does come to an election, the community will know what to do. They will be fair. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to talk to council about this topic? Come on, you already did. I'll do one more minute, 1 minute. Go.
Okay, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. When he resigned, he was going on the premise that he was called an F3 in this chamber, and I still didn't hear that the council members, each and every one of them, got a certified copy in their packet. And that packet, it said misdemeanor 1, and that wasn't shared with him until he got his own copy from the state. So when he resigned out of fear that, well, the 3 options that were given to him, he could be removed, he could wait for a meeting to be removed, you could go ahead and vote without him, but his votes won't count. And those 3 options were pretty much daunting, like there's really no arguing here. And so 2 days later, he resigned, but the whole time, the mayor and the council members, did you or did you not have the certified copy which showed M1 at the bottom?
Okay, that's it.
What I
Thank
just
you.
want to know.
That's
Thank
your
you.
minute. Thank you. All right, anybody else? All right, we're moving on. Discussion on the water line extension.
Sure, council, and these next 2 items are kind of things that are ongoing, but I want them run by and make sure no one has any issues with them before we go through. So the water line extension, Lake County Fire Department is building a new fire station, as you know, on 455 on the Stetcher property. And they were planning on putting a 8-inch water line in as a part of that, but also on the town's plans where the water tower is going to go, we need a 12-inch line put in as their logically, myself and Lake County put our heads together like, why are we going to put an 8-inch and then tear it out to put a 12-inch in? So we want to split the cost of that. I just want to give them verbal permission to move ahead. Basically, if the town put the 12-inch line, we're estimating somewhere between $350,000 or so. With us splitting the cost, it should be in the neighborhood of $110,000 to $125,000 to put the line in, and then the county actually will save some money as well because they already have the bid, so we don't have to rebid the process. So that will come actually through a intergovernmental agreement between us and Lake County. But I would want to make sure, because I got to give them the verbal to move ahead with it, because they're at the point they need to put the line in, even though it's ahead of the game. So it should save the town about $250,000. Just want to make sure we're okay doing that process.
Alrighty.
Questions?
So it's going to come from the unrestricted funds? Is that?
It actually would come from restricted funds. It'll be paid completely out of our water impact fee fund.
Okay.
So it'll be out of water impact fees. I believe we got a little over $1 million in there, $1.2 million-ish.
I'm on board. I mean, if they're going to split it, it's a win-win, I think. So.
Correct, Mr. Rubio. It is a win-win for the town and for Lake County. They get to save a little bit, and we get to put a line in we don't have to replace. Everybody's okay?
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think we're on board.
Okay.
Alrighty, how about discussion on change order for Port Avenue?
Okay. So this, on the Porter project we're doing, which is 4th Street from 1st Street, we have that contract out. I'm rounding off. I think it was around a $790,000 contract or so. That is 100% funded through 2 different grants, one through the $375,000 appropriation we have. The other one is through the $1.8 million resilient grant we have. We are, the $1.8 million grant, everything has to be spent on that by June 15th. And we have some leftover money in there. One of the projects we had was doing some improvements down at Florence Lake. We have a little bit of a flooding issue in the corner there, and we have nothing that treats the water before it goes into Florence Lake. The project is probably an additional $150,000 to $200,000, and what we can do, the close construction, we can do a change order in close construction, and they can take care of it, so we don't have to rebid that section because we don't have time to rebid it. So in order for this to get done, because of the June deadline, they have to order the materials now. So I need council to be okay with us doing that. It'll be 100% grant funded. If we don't order it and don't do it, then we're going to give the grant funds back to the state of Florida. The cost of the town general budget will be zero.
Grant, are you okay with that? Brian?
And just to clarify, this is for the contact jellyfish stormwater treatment system.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes.
I had some questions in regards to that. I do see here in the notes that it's 6 by 8 foot precast box. I kind of did a little bit of research on it, not too detailed or in depth, but essentially it's basically a bunch of filters, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And then as for the filters themselves, how often do those have to be replaced?
Usually, I believe they're pulled out and rinsed, so maintenance costs. Currently, the other boxes we have in town, we check them yearly, and that suffices and takes care of them. And it's usually done by our public works staff.
Do you happen to know, I guess, to what level does it actually filter? Like,
I don't have that, honestly.
but I'm assuming that is mainly like, I would say like maybe oil, obviously debris.
Yeah, so I guess two things. The suspended solids, the dirty water, it filters that so the water goes in cleaner. So you know how you get those rains and you get that murky water? It helps eliminate that at the spillway. But also, my understanding, it also removes a few nutrients, some of the phosphorus and stuff that also would go into the lake. It does have some reduction qualities to it, is what I understand. And I apologize, I haven't done very much in-depth research to that. They did tell me it would have some nutrient quality abilities, as well as taking care of suspended solids.
Okay. And then the system itself, though, the precast box, I assume is concrete, right?
Yeah.
How long would that last? Like 15, 20 years, 30?
No, probably more toward a 40 to 50 year, I would think.
And we do have this system elsewhere in town, or is this?
This is a little bit of a different system. So we have, on the end of Lowry Road, we have I'm trying to remember what that box is called. It's a baffle box. And so the baffle box just handles the suspended solid, so it reduces that murky water. This goes to the next level and does the nutrients as well as the suspended solids. So it's a little bit of an advanced one over what we currently have.
And then as for the specific location, is there houses nearby? Like I didn't really.
Josie's house, she left. No, there she is. So if you go right in the corner of Florence Park to the right, where it turns out to that little driveway, we have a drain right there. They're going to remove that drain and put that box in that corner in that low spot. And as a part of that, currently their house, the road tilts toward their driveway, and in heavy rains it goes right into their garage. So as part of that, they're going to flip the road that's in front of their house and put a drain there as well, and put that directly into that baffle box to take all that water that currently is causing a little flooding issue there. So we get both a flooding and nutrients benefit from this. And again, it'll all be grant funded from what we have in leftover grants that otherwise are going to have to go back to the state in July.
And how long would it take to get this completed, I guess?
They have to have it done, the contracts to have it done by June 15th.
Okay, so.
Yeah, the issue is I have to bring a change order back to you to review, and that change order is getting reviewed by DEP. They approve it first, but just the language of the change order. But they have to order that now because it's about 60 days to put it together. So if we don't get it going now, so that's why I'm bringing it to you just as a verbal discussion to get a verbal okay to move forward with that, so we can get the stuff ordered. Then we'll bring the official change order back at the May meeting.
Okay. That's all I have for questions, and I'm on board.
Everybody else
Alrighty.
okay?
No, I'm real familiar with the whole process. Been through it a few times, so I'm on board, and Grant's on board. Alrighty, let's move on. Let's go on to section 7, resolution number 2026-05. If you would please read that.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, adopting a joint planning agreement with Lake County, Florida, is authorized pursuant to sections 163.01 and 163.3171 Florida statutes, providing for directions to the town clerk and providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, so this is the joint planning agreement with Lake County. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, how about Kathleen Dial, who's here from the county? She could talk about it.
Oh, yeah?
I think this is a really a great move for Montverde.
Okay.
Always trying to be a leader when it comes to growth, so I am strongly in favor of JPAs, as you well know. But
oh, yeah.
I will point out that Kathleen Dial is here, who does an amazing job for the county. And
Absolutely. Good idea. Thank you for coming.
Good evening. I'm Kathleen Dahl, Executive Director with Lake County, just here to answer any questions. Thanks to your staff and team here at the city and your consultants for working with us on the JPA. The goal of the JPA is to manage growth and planning and development within this joint planning area together, and do it with each other, not to each other. But I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have.
And council, I want to thank the county manager, thank the county staff. I look back, we're literally been working on this for a little over 2 years in the process of putting this JPA together. So a lot of back and forth. It's a document of how we work together, how we plan together as communities, how we complement each other instead of tearing each other down. It talks about controlled growth on the county side in our 180 district. As you know, we had a problem with the hills of Montverde that got zoned in the county 4 homes per acre next to our 2 homes per acre. This addresses this going in the future. It gives us a voice at the table. It also says, Montverde, you got to stand up and speak up when development's going on, annexation go on. We want a seat at your table and give your input so you hear what's important to the county. So it's a good document. It addresses transportation. It's a very open document. It's made to be amended. It's made to change. We all know we want to put some future stuff in there that has to do with wildlife protections and what do you call that area where the animals run, Sean? Corridor, wildlife corridor, because we're kind of at the end of a wildlife corridor area. The thought is we would work together as a team and keep on improving this document together as a group. So thank you to the county for that.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll open it up to the public. Anybody like to discuss Resolution 2026-05? Bring it back to council. Anybody council want to discuss it?
I don't have any questions on it. Just for the residents, it's 34 pages long. I'm extremely critical with agreements, and honestly, I could not find anything to bring up. It's very detailed. I think they covered pretty much every possible angle. But just kind of to summarize it, from what Paul said, it's just us playing nice with the county and county playing nice with us. We keep them informed, they keep us informed, everyone's happy. But it's definitely a good thing in my opinion, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We've been working on a joint planning agreement for 10 years, I'd say.
feels like 50 years.
Feels like 50, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's finally getting some traction and it's going good, and they even have somebody assigned to it. They love it.
Yeah, and this actually started every quarter. The mayor and myself and every single mayor and manager and county commissioner have been meeting for 2 years and discussing the benefits of JPA. How do we get there? What do we need to work on? And and it's very individualized for each community, but a lot of common goals across all of Lake County. You'll see things brought in that everybody in Lake County found important, but also things that are important to us, from me listening to you as council, listening to our residents about growth and sprawl and things along that, transportation. So it's a good document. I'm hoping all the other cities will consider working with the county and adopting this, and likewise the county working with those cities.
It's a kind of another version of the MPO.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's going to be intentional, and like you said, the communication between the county and the town is going to greatly improve, and you're going to make adjustments, at each year to what you want to do. And
How you preach it to the choir.
yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't speak that way, but.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So,
Thank you, council.
yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve 2026-05. Need a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. Then we'll move on to 2026-08. If you would, please, Anita.
A resolution of the Town of Montverde, County of Lake, State of Florida, foregoing an annual increase of the consumption portion and base rate of utility rates for the 12-month period commencing April 2026, providing for an effective date.
All righty, who's going to explain that one?
I'll take it on. So, Mayor and Council, I'm pleased, I believe for the 3rd year in a row now, to come before Council and ask the council to forego a required rate increase that was passed by a resolution from about 8 years ago. That was based off of a study that we have to increase the rates just to keep up with inflation. Our water system is in great shape. I think it's probably the best shape it's ever been in from a financial standpoint. We're nearly $2 million in reserves for repairs and things along that line, and for grant matches for future capital and projects. And this resolution would just freeze the current rate that we have and not increase it with the 5% inflation as the report tells we should. So with that, I would recommend approval and a nice relief to keep it with our residents.
All righty, I'll open it up to the public. Anybody like to speak to the council about the 2026-08? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. Any conversation? If not, I need a motion.
Question, Paul. How much does the 5% translate to, like dollar amount, just roughly estimate?
So our base rate is, I think our base rate's around $26, if I'm thinking right. I'm sorry, I go off the top of my head. So not a huge amount on there. It really gets into when you get into the usage rate. So the usage rate's in the $5 range per thousand. And some people at water, you know, we have some people that get $300 water bills. For instance, that for some people it'd be a huge deduction off the $300. For others that get a normal $40 water bill, it'd be that 5% of your $40 water bill.
Every bit helps, though.
Definitely.
That's all I got.
Alrighty. Open it up to the public. Anybody like to talk about it? Alrighty, I bring back to council. I need a motion if you want to move it forward.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2026-08.
I need a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 2026-02. If you would, please, Anita.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, granting minor site plan approval to Marie Teresa K. for a specialty retail business located at 17510 County Road 455, alternate key number 1462568, providing for conditions and providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to the public. If anybody wants to talk about it. Alrighty, I'll bring it back to council. Any conversation on this minor site plan approval?
I did have some questions, but Paul just left. Is the applicant here?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I actually had, I think, 2 questions for the applicant.
Okay.
Hello. So for the hours of operations, have we determined that?
No, but I know we won't be open too late. We live 2 streets away and we respect our community, so I think, being open till 9 or so is sufficient for the type of business we're trying to run.
Ms. Need, I have a question for you. Do we need to have that on record? Because number 8 reads, hours of operations are to be established prior to the approval of this resolution. So do we need to have that on record?
Yes, that's contemplated that would be determined prior to adoption.
Yeah, I think 9 p.m. is fair.
What time?
9 p.m.
Okay. 9 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
So you could include that in
The
any
motion.
motion to approve, and we would make the adjustment in the resolution before it's signed.
And then I have another question. For the dumpster, are you gonna have a dumpster, or are you gonna keep the trash cans, like the green or whatever color they are?
I haven't really determined that yet. I guess it just depends on how much business we get. I mean, if we have, 5 people coming in a day, we're not going to require a dumpster. But if we have 30 people a day, maybe we would. So, to be determined.
I know it's not required for the bike rack. Are you planning on having a bike rack of some
I
sort?
think we're going to be very walker, golf cart, bicycle friendly, yes. Whatever needs to happen to make sure, everybody's personal property is protected, I'd be open to.
And when I looked at the site plan, obviously the septic tank is northwest. just wondering, like, did you guys, I assume you guys looked at where the drain field ends and where the parking spots are? I assume you won't have any issues with that?
No, the parking spots are south of the
Okay,
residence.
so that wouldn't be, okay.
No, it's not even close.
Last question is for Paul. It says number of no parking signs, doesn't specify. Oh, yeah, number 2. So it says no parking signs along the right of way of 8th Street. Do we know how many, possibly, estimated?
Let me ask, I wasn't overly involved in this. I was out of town, so maybe Mr. Parks or Lisa, can you shine some light on that one?
So the question is, the no parking signs on what location are you asking about?
So how many signs are we gonna have? Like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, or 2, or 1?
Let's make sure you're referring to number 2.
Yes, number 2. No parking signs along the right of way on 8th Street and CR 455.
Okay, we're gonna get there.
So I do see on page 2, it says the final location will be approved by staff town manager at installation time with the style. So we go, once we kind of get the drive, you'll probably see 2 on 8th Street in front and probably 2 on 455 in that neighborhood, maybe 3 on 455.
And do we have an estimate for number 3 as to where the light poles are gonna go?
No, that'll also be.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's one at the entrance of 8th, it says. I'm on page 2 there, Sean, and probably one right in front of their entrance. So 8th Street and the entrance there to get the intersection.
Yeah, right at the entrance, but, I mean, if there's an exact spot where that'll be, no, that'll be determined. I mean, it'll have to be at the entrance, as it says, but, you know, we'll check it.
And part of that, Mr. Rubio, we kind of left it flexible. I didn't know how fast she was going to design. We know we're going to come in and do some road work and sidewalk improvements on there. And I really haven't even taken a look at that road to see what that's going to look like and brought it back to council. So just depending on how she designed, we'd probably try to coordinate that together to make sure she doesn't put a light pole right where we need the sidewalk to go. So once I know that her site's getting ready to move, then we're going to really probably get into that and get those locations figured out where we don't have to move them later.
And then last question, do we know when the max occupant number is assigned, or do we know that now?
I think I have to get my site plan, my ADA compliance stuff done, and then I'll have the health department or the fire department come in, and I think they will give me that number at that point.
That's correct.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay.
So 6 parking spots is all you're with it on?
For now, yeah. 6 and then 7 in the existing carport. Like I said, I think we're going to have a lot of walking traffic. We're right off the trail. A lot of people golf cart around town. A lot of people walk. A lot of people bicycle. Just on my way here, I probably saw 5 families out and about walking. So that's our goal, to be like walkable.
Well, I wish you luck.
Thanks.
Anything else? No, okay.
Make a motion that we approve 2026-02.
Did I open it up to the public? Yeah, I think so. I think I did. Okay, I'll bring it back to council.
I'm sorry, Mayor. We don't have it on record that you opened it to the public.
Okay,
So
open
if
it
you
up to
would-
the public. Anybody want to talk about it? Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve 2026-02.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it.
Can I get just clarification that you want the not no later than 9 p.m. included in the resolution?
Oh, correct, yes. You want us to
Oh.
do it?
Well, is that included in your motion and vote?
Yes. Yes,
No
yes.
later than 9 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, you're very welcome. And we'll go ahead and move forward with ordinance number 2026-01. If you would, please, Anita.
An ordinance of the Town of Montverde, County of Lake, State of Florida, amending Article 5 in Chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Montverde to include wastewater sewer utility rates applicable to customers in the Hills of Montverde subdivision, adopting the sewer rate study analysis, providing for codification and severability, and providing for an effective date.
All righty, I want to talk about this, Paul.
Yes, at the last meeting, I provided you with the report, or the rate study for the sewer plant. And this is the second reading of the resolution for that rate study. So this just establishes rates for sewer for the hills of Montverde only. Or excuse me, I apologize. Yeah, hills of Montverde only. So this is out of the city, 91 homes, and this will also be applicable to the additional 25% rate above that because they were out of the city limits.
That's still in effect?
What's that?
The 25%?
Well, maybe.
I've got to check if the governor signed it, but that might very well be going away.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
So yeah, right now, just as it's written, what I saw, I believe the rates are good till 27, and if you have any debt on your water system or sewer system, then it goes to 29.
Oh, okay. So we need that. Alrighty. I'll open it up to the public, 2026-01. And it's about the sewer rates for the hills of Montverde, which is the rental units going over Fosgate, the Turnpike. And they're going to build 93 on 25 acres. Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. Any conversation on this? Otherwise, need a motion.
And then just, Paul, it's 158.77, correct? That's the base rate for this one, for the hills?
Yeah, and I apologize. I just noticed just the study wasn't in here. But yeah, I recall it being right around 160 for both of them, right in that ballpark in the 160 range.
And this one also has a 3.75% annual increase?
That's correct, sir.
Okay.
And within that study, they did recommend after 2 or 3 years that we do another study just to make sure everything's staying in line, keeping up with inflation and costs and everything along that line.
That's all I got.
How many does that make now when I think about it? We got Apoca Sound, right? For sewer, Apoca Sound, and this one.
So, in Willow.
Willow Ridge.
Yeah, so we have 90 at Apoca Sound, 234 at Willow Ridge. We'll have 91 at Hills of Montverde, and if you also do Montverde Estates, you'll have another 101 there, or 101, 102. So pretty good sized system.
Okay.
I mean, what's the anticipated revenue after expenses? Just this one.
It was in that rate study that was in your last packet. I apologize, it didn't get put in this one, but you really set it up where you don't make additional revenue, but we're putting sufficient reserves every year to cover any future costs, based off the average life of the equipment. That way it doesn't come out of any of our systems. The good news is we have these other 2 sewer systems currently running, and they currently have already put tens of thousands of dollars already in reserves, and so this all gets blended in with our current sewer system, so they all kind of work together. So while you're looking at these individual rates, you're not in their individual systems. The funds are all put into one sewer utility fund that all support each other, which takes a lot of that risk of any general funds ever having to be put into this, because we already have 3 years of reserves being built up.
Alrighty. I guess I'll bring it back to council, and we need to make a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-01.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. We'll move on to 2026-02, if you would too, please, Anita.
An ordinance of the Town of Montverde, County of Lake, State of Florida, amending Article 5 in Chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Montverde to include wastewater sewer utility rates applicable to customers in the Montverde Estates project, adopting the sewer rate study analysis, providing for codification and severability, and providing for an effective date.
Go ahead.
Yeah, exact same study. This one's almost the exact same system, but for the Hills of Montverde, if the council chooses during the final development plan to take that over. So this will be for the operation for the Hills of Montverde.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to the public to discuss it. Anybody like to talk to the council about this ordinance? Okay, I'll bring it back to council, and I need some discussion or a motion.
And the base rate for this one is 141.58, right?
I believe that's correct, yes. And what we did was just do it, instead of doing per gallons, we just did flat rate on these systems.
I don't have anything else. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-02. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. Move on to resolution 2026-06. If you would, please.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving task order number 8, amendment number 2 for engineering services for renewal of the town's consumptive use permit dated March 2nd, 2026, between the Town of Montverde and Woodard and Curran Incorporated, authorizing the town manager to execute the task order, providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, this is all about our engineering service and helping us with our consumptive use permit. Anybody want to talk to the council about it? Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Need any discussion?
Do we have a representative from Woodard and Curran?
Not here tonight, no.
I did have, I guess, a few concerns. Obviously, the amount is $37,642. Based on what I read, this amendment wasn't included in the original contract. Therefore, that's why they're obviously, requesting for payment. But I guess my concern becomes the permit expired in 2024. They were involved shortly after that in March of 2024. There have been 5 extensions, and the current deadline is June 4th. I understand that it was spelled out. The district had a change of personnel, and they requested additional things. But I guess going back to the first request, the first amendment, there were 11 items that were required by the district. A few of them sound to me like they should have probably been included, to begin with. So that kind of made me question a little bit as to, we're hiring experts to do this. Why is it taking, over 2 years, 5 extensions, and now we're basically a few days away from June 4th, or a few weeks away from June 4th. And then here it doesn't also spell out when they're going to have the deliverables. It just says they're going to have it by June 4th. So I don't feel comfortable with knowing that they're just going to magically appear in June 4th. I think we should require them to at least provide that at least a week prior to that, just to ensure that they make the deadline, because I feel that the more extensions, the more amendments, the more money is going to cost us. Granted, maybe some of this money comes from grants, but at the end of the day, it's 2.5 years. You hired an expert company to do this, and here we are. So those are my concerns.
How long has DEP delayed the process?
Sure. And can I give a little bit of insight on this? Because these task orders were kind of purposely set up this way by me versus, originally they came in and, could throw the whole kitchen sink out of us. This is everything DEP may require of us. But backing up from literally 3 years ago when we started talking about this process, if I can just have a few minutes, if it's okay. First of all, our permit is not expired, even though it says it's expired. So how it works with DEP is once you submit your application, it goes under an automatic administrative renewal. So they just keep renewing your old permit because they know you're working on your new one. This is actually going very fast for DEP. Believe it or not, there are cities that work on this for years, and that's almost everywhere. Believe it or not, in Colorado, I was 8 years into administrative renewal on one that was expired from 8 years ago. So it's just kind of a theme of it. So what I asked Woodard and Curran to do is, we're a small town. You could hypothetically guess, you have different steps with DEP. You turn in your first engineering report, and they come back with what additional information they want. You could speculate on what other towns do. We're kind of at that size. And originally, they told me we should budget probably close to, I believe, a little over $300,000. And what I said, let's do it in pieces. Let's wait till DEP comes back, tells us what additional information they need. And they've actually saved us quite a bit of money through this process. So the first one was get the application in, get all the required information in. Then DEP comes back and says, we want all this. And then they go back and negotiate with them, what does all this look like? An example, on the last go around, They indicated they wanted full modeling of the aquifer, and you'll kind of see that report. And originally, then when we had met with them, they were talking about discussing having us do a full entire study of alternative reuse options. And that itself would have been 150 grand, probably do that type of detailed report they wanted. But they were able to talk with them, hey, they're a small town, they're working on an LFA well, and then they just made us do a smaller report. So what we've been doing through this process is, hey, what is DEP going to require? We submit, see what they submit back. We've been doing the task order change just to cover what they have and hopefully save the town some money through that process. Does that kind of make sense? So I purposely set it up where they would send us multiple task orders as we went through the process with DEP. It is a slow process at DEP. They review stuff. We're on our second manager since we started. This literally section of review is literally from the change of a project manager. They were just about ready to issue and they handed off, and she wanted some more information. To answer your final question, where are they at with this current deliverable? I have a Teams meeting set up with Woodward Current on Monday. They have everything ready to submit. They have it ready this week. We're just going to get our schedules to work. So we're going to Teams meet on Monday. We're going to review the information, make any adjustments needed, and they're going to resubmit. Then DEP may come back with a few little changes. We can hopefully get that tweaked and we'll be done.
And for those few changes, is that going to be additional, I guess?
If they don't ask for the kitchen sink, we should be at the point now, it would be clarifications. And so that should be included in this. It's not to say DEP can't come back and say, well, now we want something additional. But more than likely, we're kind of at I guess, the red zone. We're at that 5-year, we don't quite know what it is, but we're close where we're going to walk into the end zone with it.
If you had to estimate, what's the total amount that the town has paid for this permit application process?
I believe again, I'm just going to estimate. I believe the first task order we did was right about 100,000, maybe a tad under, when the last one was maybe high 40s, I think, in that ballpark, and this one's around 40-ish as well. So we're 180 into it.
Okay. So theoretically, if DEP comes back, it's just to clarify things, not necessarily to ask additional things, but if they do ask for additional things, then it's going to cost us money to then have Woodard and Curran go back.
That's correct, if it depends on what the additional is.
Okay.
In the context of this, just so you understand, they vary. We're spending a little bit more money right now on purpose. We have applied, and it looks like we're going to get a 20-year permit. And they don't hand those out very much anymore. 10 is more common, and they're going down to 5. I want to even say something like maybe Groveland's, I heard, only got a 5 on theirs. And when you get those 5 or 10s, you have to repeat this whole process over and over again. So we kind of argued the size of our community, we'll kind of give whatever information you need now, so if we can get that 20-year permit, we don't have to pay this again. But it's very rare to get 20s now. Most of them are 10s.
Okay. So theoretically, we get the 20-year permit, technically we'll save money on this whole application process every
Correct.
7 years.
If we got a 10-year, it'll probably be $300,000 to $400,000 10 years from now. Now we don't have to worry about it till 19 years from now if we get this current permit.
Right.
So
And they'll save a lot of money this time.
and that's why it's taken extra time and extra money. Literally, we've had to print every single meter usage for the last 3 years and compare it with our reports that we send in off our bulk usage with the town and show deficiencies and show where the losses are. And we had to do some modeling, but not the full modeling of the aquifer. So when you do the 20, and they had a lot of questions about growth. They wanted us to prove we needed the water for growth. And, part of the process, we were waiting for some of these CUPs to get approved because it actually helped us with our 20-year, or not the CUPs, the PDs to get approved, because that helps us through the process of showing we actually have agreements in hand that we physically need this water.
So for this round, Osgood is already being accounted for, Hills Montverde and Montverde Estates?
We accounted yes, they counted that, and I also believe if the 20 acres developed over by the water tower, the Orange Grove, and a little bit more water in addition to that. So we were able to get what we had for the growth we needed, and also a little bit percentage above that for the stuff we didn't account for. So we're in pretty good shape.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Any more questions? All righty. Guess we need a motion.
I'll go ahead and motion to approve resolution 2026-06.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Against say nay. Nays don't have it. Resolution 2026-09, if you would, please.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the Sixth Amendment to Employment Agreement between the Town of Montverde and Paul Areno, authorizing execution, providing for an effective date.
Okay, you want to explain this, Paul?
Sure, and thank you. I didn't realize we were over 2 years on that. It's amazing how time flies. So, no, Council, I'm just asking for just a small change to my contract just to reflect the reality of the ground. A lot of times when I'm on vacation or taking my PTO, things have come up in the town where I need to basically stop vacation and deal with town business, either through council members or through some staff issues or something that comes up. So I just recognize that time's not going to count against my vacation time, my PTO time. So it's just codifying it. I'm kind of doing it already, so it happens that way, you know, for big stuff. Be glad to answer any questions.
Yeah. Well, I'll open it up to the public. Anybody like to talk about this one? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. Any discussion on this?
I did have a few questions. PTO stands for paid time off, correct?
For most managers, not many managers, and even our town attorney, I can't tell you how many Sundays that she's been sitting in Cancun on a Sunday, and we're both talking to each other, getting ready for a council meeting. So, but yeah,
and I understand that obviously the need for it, you know, but I also think that if you're going to take your time off, you shouldn't have to bother with taking on work stuff. If it's an emergency, sure, by all means, right? If it's, you know, other tasks, and even if they come in later at the last second, like, so be it. But, you know, just my opinion is if you're going to take time off, you shouldn't be working. I mean, that's the point of taking time off. That's number one. Number two, if, not that another employee is going to want that, would they also have the option of doing this as well?
no, I'm the only contracted employee in the town. All the other employees follow the personnel policy handbook. And really, no other employee has a position quite unique to mine where everybody has to report to me, and council can only report to me for issues and problems. So it's a very unique position. And being a small town, you just don't have a lot of that flexibility of like, hey, we're going to sign this person that has the qualifications to handle a call, so something like that.
And of course, it's noted that it's extremely unlikely another employee is going to want this, but I just didn't want to, I guess, for employees to think that, well, since you could do it, I could do it, and then we say no to them, you know, so I just wanted to voice that concern.
Yeah, I don't think there's an issue on that. In fact, I think my employees appreciate that I'm available to them if a crisis pops up or something happens, and or different things. So, and I think I've talked to every single council member here on vacation, except for probably you, Mr. Rue. I haven't had vacations probably since you come on, but you know, example would, I guess a perfect example on, you know, my day off, you needed some information for your packet to help prepare. I came in, spent a couple hours, got you your information you needed. That's just a part of the manager. All the council members do that. So, you know, I'm going to throw, Mr. Morganelli, politely throw you on the bus. You know, I was in Acadia National Park, and you had an issue, and I was sitting with my wife overlooking Acadia National Park, and you had an emergency pop up I had to take care of, if you recall. I was on vacation. So every council member has, you know, has issues sometimes that need to come up, need to be addressed, and staff.
If you're unavailable, who should we be reaching out to as council members?
Oh, wait. All righty. Did I open that up to public? I'll reopen it up to public.
Pamela Tarver, 16454 Magnolia Bluff Drive. I think everyone should be paid for their time, and I think everyone should have time off. And I think that we need to structure ourselves so that our town manager doesn't have to do everything. That's one of my concerns about us, is that we put so much on the town manager, and that we haven't empowered enough people to do the things that need to be done. Besides, some of it is going to have to be done. And I don't know anything, unfortunately, about your structure, the town manager's structure, payment structure. Is it salary? Is it time?
Yes, it's salary.
It's okay. That's interesting, because as a salaried employee, generally, you don't get paid time off. So I'm not in objection to that, but I just think that we need to structure ourselves that if you work, you get paid, but we need to structure ourselves so that the dependency on our town manager isn't as great as it is. Everyone needs time off, and I've been a salaried employee most of my corporate life, so that's what you do. You work sometimes when you're not in the office, but I'm not saying that that's not important, that you get paid for what you do, but we need to adjust the salary, adjust the salary, but I don't pay time off, no.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
and just to be clear, this is during, I definitely work when I'm here all the time. This is vacation time, you know, when I'm sitting on the beach, for instance, or things along that line.
Right,
So,
and we want you to be on the beach,
yes.
and empower someone to do some of those jobs. That's the only thing I'm thinking about.
And unfortunately, there's not a manager that I know of that isn't even on call when they're gone, because there's just some things that get to that level.
Right.
In a smaller town, it's more compounded. My staff does a great job. They go out of their way not to bother me when I'm on vacation, but you know, just getting council packets ready. Sometimes emergencies pop up. If something happened that would be a large expense popped up, they have to get those things authorized through me. I think the council would expect that. It's just part of that check and procedures that the auditors even want to see through the process.
And how often is that you're doing that? So that, I guess maybe that's where we're getting to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often. I mean, I usually don't take big, long chunks of vacation.
Well,
probably
no,
will
I'm not
in the
talking about the
future.
vacation.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
Interruption.
it just depends, you know. I could, sometimes I take a day off and I had 5 hours of stuff come in, and sometimes I could be a week and I get a phone call. You know, it's sporadic. So probably could be up to 10 hours a week sometimes.
10 hours a week that your time off is interrupted, 10 hours out of your time off?
Sometimes,
that's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's a lot. So my thing is, maybe we should be adjusting the salary and not the paid time off.
All righty.
Okay, my concern is, I'm trying to first understand the problem, that we have a salaried employee, you have vacation time, and then separate from that, there's paid time off. Is that correct? Is there like PTO days in excess of number of vacation days? Same thing, okay. As a resident here, one of the frustrations I've had with the town is we're a 4-day work week. We have a library, it's not open on Saturdays or Fridays, and we have a nice facility here. And I think it's kind of problematic if people are trying to get things done. It's a small town, so obviously we don't have an assistant town manager. We're not at that scale yet. But you being the guy that kind of has the final say, you're going to run into that being the executive of the town. And so one of the things I wanted to ask is, at some point, when we compare compensation, other things to, you know, other towns, Groveland, Mineola, or whatever, are they, is their offices open Monday through Friday, like, you know, Claremont or other places, and does that not working on a Friday, making it 7 to 6, which is, I know you work for your living, I'm not taking that away, but when things come up, is this running into a Friday where we're not here, so it is a day off? And, you know, if you're saying you have 2 weeks, or I don't know what you get a year, but you're finding that in those 2-week time, you're spending a lot of time still doing your job. And you should have the vacation time, so I'm not doubting it. But I think part of my question is, are we compensating you at a level for 4 days when you're still working maybe a 5th day every now and then because of these emergencies that come up, and you're not getting your vacation time? So I'm trying to grapple with, what do other communities do, in the other city managers that are about the size, do they have what you're asking for? You know, if I wanted to compare apples to apples. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so anybody else like to talk to the council?
Jimmy Rogers, 17325 2nd Street. Paul, I think just from what I've gathered watching the city, I think you're working, probably still working 50 hours on your, or 10-hour days. Right, so plus, what I also noticed is Paul's here for every event on weekends and everything else, which is giving up days that should be his time off that he's associate and volunteer, and I would imagine, depending on how you want to look at it. So I don't think it's an unfair ask that if he has to work a 5 or a few hours on his weekend, that he's asked to be, where he can just add that back to his PTO bank. I don't think that's unreasonable.
No, okay, thank you very much. Anybody else?
Hold on. Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland. So you're not going to throw me under the bus. It feels like a train tonight has hit me. But anyway, so I guess someone asked me in reference your overtime. Do you get overtime when you're doing the events?
So how my contract is set up, I have an 88-hour work week. I set up to get comp time when I work over at an equal rate, not time and a half, but the comp time doesn't kick in until I work an extra 10 hours over my 80 hours. So basically I give 10 extra hours of unpaid before comp time kicks in at equal time.
And I can attest to you too, by the way, that you do work when you're at the beach, because we've had conversations.
Yes,
and
recently.
I have said to you, and again, and I think you guys will agree, like, when it's your time off, it should be your time off. Like, you should be able to walk away from that, enjoy your family, and do those things. And I think what Pamela was mentioning is a really great point, is that, and I've said this to you too, that we need to, our staff, we need to get our staff going, and they do a great job, but I think we need, so you can take that time off and enjoy that actual time off. So.
I would say it's just as much council as staff, to be honest, when council have needs or things come up. And unfortunately, and I know, I would say our town attorney and I have had this conversation before, and Sean's probably been, as anybody's kind of been in my position. If you don't keep up with some of the emails and the urgent stuff while you're gone, coming back makes you wish you never had a vacation. And that's the reality, because it's so much sometimes to do that you try to always do a little bit when you're getting 100+ emails a day. You know, you have to, you know, kind of keep up with it. Otherwise, you know, I've had that before where I took a long vacation. I was like, and I tried to just turn it all off, and it was worse. I wish I didn't do it.
When I was counsel, one of the things that I found frustrating was that when I would look at your calendar, or try to look at your calendar, because I never want to bother anybody on their time off. And I know I don't know how many, you guys all use Outlook, or, I don't know if you guys are using that or not, but it would be very handy if you could share your calendar with council so they would know when you're out of office.
Anytime I'm out of office or send a time, I let the council know. That's actually in my contract. So if I'm gone for more than 2 days, I'll let council know.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it there. I won't go any further on that one. All right. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back to council. Anybody have any comments?
Yeah, last but not least, are we gonna have some form of tracking this, documented, logging it? Are we gonna get, I guess, I don't know, maybe a monthly report?
So I usually, anytime I work anything significant, I'll write it down on the time card for that week, or I'll keep a note of it. And wherever that week, I just write down time card, had to meeting with council members, just general, had 2 hours, had to prepare something for council to get them ready, blah, 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 something like that, or attended an event or did event. I always write that down just to track it. So if you guys ever want to go back and look at it, it's there for you to look at.
What was, I know a while back, former council member Morganelli mentioned something about tracking something that you're going to report, I don't know, once quarterly or something like that.
Yeah, just the remaining PTO and comp time. So yeah, I do owe that for you for this month. So
would we be able to just add this to that?
I can in a generic. I mean, it's 99% events or call-ins or council stuff. I mean, generally that's what most of it is, something along that line. But I mean, I could kind of, if I'm gone on vacation, I could definitely send you why, hey, I had to work on this or do something like this. I mean, that would be fine.
Yeah, I mean, not to take more
because I do track.
time.
I do track it. I just don't make it up as I go. Yeah. I keep track of it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got.
All right. Okay, so we'll move. Need a motion?
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2026-09.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say nay. Nay. Need, if you would please, 2026-10.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the as-is residential contract for sale and purchase between the Church at Montverde Incorporated and the Town of Montverde to acquire the real property located at 17348 Division Street, Montverde, Florida, authorizing the town manager to execute the closing documents, providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, this is the Methodist church, or the church right here that owns the house across the street from the park, and they called us and they thought we'd be interested in it, and Paul and I went and looked at it. I personally think we need to grab it since it's right there next to the park. So we made an offer after looking at the comps, which I'm sure Brian is familiar with, and we're looking to purchase it. I'll open it up to the public.
I'm Lanny Evans, 16355 Florence Oak Court. I'm not a realtor. And I'm well aware that, and our residents are well aware that we're well represented on the council by realtors and the administration. I don't have access to comps. I'd like to reserve, after we hear the comps, if I could come back up, perhaps. From what I understand, the contract is for $350,000. The fair market value is $212,000, and that's 60% more than the fair market value that we're offering.
What was that number you said? Where'd it come from?
Came from the county, the supervisor of
Oh, the taxable value?
taxable value.
Here you go. Here's the comps. You want it?
Well,
there it is.
what are, would you tell me what they are?
There's
The lowest is 325, the highest is 393, and the majority are in the 370s.
Yeah, it's 393, 325. On the comps, you want to go interior square foot to interior square foot within 10%, and the property within 10% plus or minus. The $325,000 one was 1,044 for square feet. The subject house is 1,700 and something square foot, so it's 300 square foot below. So if you back the per square foot price in, you automatically get up by 370 then with the extra 400 square foot. The next one is on Hillside, actually three of the next ones, and these are all within the last year. Next one's also 1,400 square foot to our 1,700 square foot subject property, 370 for that one, 1,591, 375 for that one. Next one's bigger, it's 1989. I'm sorry, for 14, much smaller, it was 374. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 5 homes are smaller interior square footage than the property we're trying to buy. And they're much more, 370, 375, and 374, and 393. One of them was 325, but it's 400 square foot smaller than the house that we're buying.
That's the oldest house as well. The cheapest one is the oldest house as well.
Yeah, the cheapest one was a flat roof house on a horrible property up on Lowry. You know, on the gentleman that died, I can't remember his name. He was the mechanic. Across the street from Jim Peacock's house and next to Joe's house. The house is extremely rough.
Well, if our realtors are satisfied, then I'm satisfied.
Okay.
I would like to ask what it's going to take to make it serviceable for our needs.
Well, the house, I actually walked through it with Paul the other day and a church person, and the house, it needs some little bit of work on easement on the house, but everything else was in great
I
shape.
think it had new roof, new air, new roof on it, I believe.
Yeah, it has a
And the
brand new
air's not that
roof, air
old.
conditioner is only a few years old, the air
Are
conditioner.
you gonna use it for residents?
No, no,
I-
go ahead
I
and tell them what you want to use it
I
for.
understood it was gonna be for,
Just for
maintenance.
right now, we're going to use it for this.
Sure. And maybe, Council, real quick, I can explain the why, and that might help with the finances. So, I mean, the location is, it's adjacent, hooks onto the current parking lot of the town park, and often, if you've been at Montverde Day, we block their whole entire driveway off with events and tents. Land, as we know, for those who have been blessed on in Montverde, we know land continues to go up here, and 20 years from now, this will be a bargain for sure for the town. It's actually a good price now, but really, just looking forward. One thing, every one of these council members have sat up here. They've made it very clear they want to keep growing our events in town, bringing community together, having a place. They through the first budget workshop, they all support. Trying to keep funding those events. We know more people are going to be moving to the area. We're talking about doing a rehab of our park playground area.
Hey,
so
Paul,
we only have so much limited
He was just
space.
asking what we're going to use it for.
Yeah, and so with that said, is just for now, what we'll likely do is probably put some public works staff in there and offices in there to give them a little bit more room to work and get through their paperwork.
Office.
Yeah. So.
Thank you. All righty. Anybody else come on up?
Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland Avenue. All right. Out of unrestricted funds, I'm assuming, for payment on this?
So I'm looking at this, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper, but I believe at least probably 75% of this could be covered with impact fees because it is for growth and future offices. So that probably will come from both admin and water. I need to research the admin one just a little bit more. If we can do it all out of impact fees, that would be my preference because it is related to growth, but we may have to do a percentage possibly out of unrestricted funds. But I believe minimally 75% should be able to come from impact fee funds.
All right. The only reason I'm asking about the impact fees is because I went back and looked at April 2024, 25, and 26, and our impact fees are constantly dwindling. So that's why I'm just, that's the question. That's why I wanted to know where it was all going to come from.
Yeah, so our public works, the portion, a good portion of their salaries and position is dealing with water. The water impact fee fund has actually grown to over $1 million. We're going to also have an additional $600,000 reimbursed from our grants, possibly from impact fees. We're working through that now, so our fund on water impact fees is going to exceed probably $2 million, probably by early next year. And parks obviously need some growth, but admin would probably be the next section. A percentage of that would come out of. Again, I gotta consult with Tara just a little bit more to get the final numbers.
So you and the mayor walked through it, so, right?
Oh yeah, we
okay.
physically.
Did you walk through? No. Did you walk through?
No.
Okay. I haven't been off of there long. I don't remember any of this ever being a discussion. I know we talked about expanding, and I'm not sort of against the whole expansion, because again, if you have an opportunity to buy land, it's definitely worth buying that. I guess the question is, how did this all come about? Like, you just happened to walk by it one day and say, hey, it's for sale, and
No, the church approached us. They would like it to benefit the community, and they would rather us have it so it stays as a part of the community. We know at some point in the future, the land to me is the value personally. I mean, it may not be for the rest of the council, but the land near the park and the parking's always been an issue, and we have an opportunity there. It also could benefit downtown too if that ever gets turned into parking. So not that we need it now.
They
but at
called
some
us.
point it will.
They called us and asked if we want it.
again, I'm not against the whole idea behind it, because again, if you can get land, it makes sense. I guess, is there any reason? Well, again, I'm assuming Carol, did she walk through with you?
The mayor and I are the only one who walked through it. So.
You know what I'm going to ask? Why didn't the other council members walk through then with you? Because I think that would be important for them to go through, see it. I mean, Brian is a realtor.
Sure, I kind of come back to I'm looking at as land. I mean, it's just it's a block 3-bedroom building that looks like the White House over there that we have. So there's not much to see. I want to say we were in there 90 seconds, maybe. I
10
mean, I look
minutes.
more at the outside, at the structural stuff, to make sure there's nothing of an issue. I mean, it's just a white block building.
Thank
so.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Alan Hartle, 16191 Hillside. I think it was 6 years ago when the Yellow House came up and we had all this, why are we going to spend all this money on the Yellow House, which is now the White House? And we've turned that into...
No, it's over 10 years.
Well, okay.
10 years.
We were debating that whether we were supposed to do that or not, and it was like, oh, it's a lot of money. And I'm thinking, here we are again, deja vu. And my opinion is there's no place, we've talked about this, for the town to expand downtown. And the idea of moving facilities to Stetcher is not really a smart logistic idea to do. So we have this opportunity. To me, it's a win-win situation. There's always room for expansion. Paul needs more room for records because I remember we were using the White House for record storage, and records keep getting more and more in depth, and storage gets less and less, and Stetcher is not in the table. And from what you've said, and it's an old concrete block house, which goes through hurricanes a whole lot better than stick houses, and it's been, to me, a win-win situation. I think we'd be really missing the boat if we didn't grab the opportunity and seize the moment and grab it. And if it sits there for a while, that's okay. But as you know, both of you know, prices don't go down, they go up. And the cost of building, John will tell you, keeps getting more and more expensive. So I think that's a win-win situation. Office space, storage space, IT space, whatever we need, it's there. Plus, like you said, Paul, if we ever need a parking space, now we have space to facilitate ourselves just that little bit more. So I think it's a win-win situation, and I hope you guys see it that way also. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. All right, anybody else? All righty, we'll bring it back to council, and I need a motion, discussion.
I want to discuss this a little bit further. I guess my first question is, when was this originally spoken about purchasing this, or when did the church reach out?
Last week.
Last week, okay. I want to use this time to remind the residents and the council, we all have equal 20% votes. For the rest of the council members not to be included in that initial discussion, I think is wrong. It's unprofessional. That's number one. I had no knowledge of this. I've never heard anything in regards to this purchase prior to me seeing this on the agenda. So that's the first part. Paul, I have a question for you. Who drafted this contract?
I had the mayor put the as-is contract together, then I obviously handwritten in the cost on it.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, were you acting as a real estate agent when you drafted this contract?
Nope.
Okay.
He provided me the contract
I
form.
gave him a contract to use.
Okay. Who wrote the language in the additional terms?
I did.
Did you have any help with that additional language?
It's the same language we used when we purchased the last piece of property. I just pulled it off that contract.
Okay. Paul, are you aware that drafting your language or copying and pasting it from somewhere else, which essentially is the same thing as you drafting it, is the practice of unlicensed law?
Well, if you're saying it's not, then I won't answer you on that. So, but it's,
I say this because
it's the same language that was drafted by the town attorney from the last contract. So I have the language that I used.
yeah, there's a liability issue there. I think Miss Anita should have drafted that additional language, and not you, Paul, not Mr. Mayor, or anyone else.
Again, that is her language.
So, or she could have written it in. So that's that. On the signature line, it's two entities purchasing it. My years of being in real estate, that signature line must have the entity name in which it's gonna be deeded. Yes, you could put the representative who's signing on behalf of that entity, but all I see is the name of Paul and the treasurer of the church. I don't see any entity name there. So I would say that that would need to be revised. It was mentioned that the roof was replaced 2 years ago.
What was the last mark? I didn't hear you.
The entity name. So for the signature line in the last page, you must have the entity name. And then, yes, the representative will sign. It just says Paul and the treasurer. There's no entity name there. Yes, it's on the first page, but I don't know. Correct me
Well,
if I'm
they
wrong,
can do
Mr.
an
Nito.
addendum and fix that.
Okay. Yeah, just, again, compliance and you know.
If
mitigating
that's a
risk.
problem, I'm not sure. Anita would have to look at it, but
Because if Paul signs and doesn't put an entity name, that means he's signing personally as Paul. So
I don't
I'm
agree
sure
with
Miss
that
Anita
myself.
could give us further guidance. She's the attorney, right?
Yep.
When was the roof replaced?
I think 3 years ago now.
Was it permitted?
I don't know.
I was just asking because I didn't see any permits on file for the roof replacement. Last permit was 2016. Do we know when the plumbing was replaced? If it was replaced?
Don't have any.
Do we know if it's cast iron or PVC or PEX?
Oh, no, CPVC, not PVC.
How about the septic tank? Does it have a septic tank?
Yep.
Do we know how old the septic tank is?
Nope.
Do we know how old the drain field is?
Nope.
Do we know if the electrical has been replaced?
Nope. We didn't do a 4-point on it.
Okay. There's nothing in the contract that says we had the right to inspect, or at least there was 5 days for it. But
Right.
by the looks of it, I don't think there was any plans of getting it inspected. So that's that part.
No, we didn't want to get inspected. We just get ready to go up, look at it. I mean, you can have an opinion, we should get it inspected, but that's an opinion.
What I hear, what I've heard so far is this sounds like a want, not a need. In the analysis, it says the location is to support public works and utility operations. Paul, you mentioned several other things outside of that. I feel like this is being done just because it's a nice property to have as a town. It's right next to us, great, but the justification is something totally different that was provided in this analysis. Moving on to the opinion of value. I've been doing this for a while as well, Mr. Mayor. I could go ahead and grab 4 different comps that are much lower than these. So I'm saying that because your analysis is subjective. Again, we should have an appraisal done, maybe 2 appraisals, and then we average the 2 and go with that value. That's what I think we should do. Appraisals are subjective again, so the appraiser is going to stick to the analysis, to the numbers, to the square footage. You know, they're licensed to do this. Us realtors, we're not licensed to do appraisals or BPOs. I mean, unless you charge and. But anyway, so there's a lot of things here. I think it's misleading, the analysis as to why we need this. I don't see a clear justification for this. The whole purchase was basically between the mayor, Paul, and the church. There's no council members involved in this, so I'm having to say now because it has to go through us. Last but not least, it's $350,000 that at the end of the day belongs to the residents in the town. And we're ultimately going to be held accountable for that management of that money, or any money at that. So I think this is being done a little bit too fast. I would like to see appraisals. I would like to see an inspection period longer than 5 days. I would also like for the additional language to be drafted by Ms. Anita, not Paul, Mr. Mayor, or anyone else. And even then, if we do those things, I'm against this. Doesn't feel right. We're just throwing $350,000 that doesn't belong to us just for the heck of it. So that's just my opinion on it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right. Did we already do public? All right, so we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I request to table this to another meeting with the additional information.
Is that a motion?
I motion for us to table this to the next meeting.
Okay, we got a motion. We need a second.
Have you had any discussion with the church about what would happen if we did not do this in a timely fashion?
No. Yeah, it's just contingent upon town council approval. So this is the time for town council to meet and discuss it. So
And when does this contract expire?
If it gets denied tonight.
yeah.
So the parties do state the church at Mount Verde and the town of Mount Verde, first line. It's just signed by Paul.
Oh, it does? I didn't even look, yeah. I didn't fill it out.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
so it's
signature line
right.
has to state the entity. I've been doing this for well over 10 years.
Okay, but again, we can do an
identity.
addendum to straighten that out. That's not a big problem, Brian.
So there's a motion on the table, Mr. Mayor. Do we have a second?
Anita, what's your opinion on the contract?
On the contract, what portion of the contract? Because
The issues that Councilmember Rubio has brought up with it.
those are not legal issues other than the signature part, which can be corrected with an addendum as was stated. The rest are really business terms for council to determine.
Got a motion, need a second? I guess it failed. Anita, what do we want to do? We want to move forward? We need a motion to take it or just drop the whole thing?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2026-10 with the amendments described.
Got a motion, need a second? I second it. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Can't say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. All right, move on to next thing is nothing. All righty, well, I make a motion, we adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And say nay.